And back at it live with another episode. Damn it, you messed me up. We're keeping this edit. But welcome back to all my iconics folks across the internet lands. And welcome to another Pinfall Playback review, where this time we're reviewing the WWE Summerslam 2023 PLE. I'm just going to forewarn everybody who's tuning into this review now. Some hot takes are going to be given. So just be prepared, be nice to us in the comments, because conversations further improvement of all humanity. But we're going to talk a lot of crap, so I'm just letting y'all know now. As always, I'm joined by my 3 out of my other 4 co-hosts. But for the first time ever, as I mentioned leading into this review, we have a special guest reviewer for this time around.
That's not Adolfo, okay.
Wow, that's slightly racist, but you know what?
Well, I figured that we were doing it with the entire cast. I didn't realize we had somebody new.
Well, oh my gosh. Well, to be fair, I will say it is nice to have another Puerto Rican. So now it's 3 white dudes and 3 Puerto Ricans. So, you know, it kind of evens out. But I'm going to let our guest introduce himself, give a little bit about his history with wrestling, and just anything else he wishes to share. So, my friend, the floor is yours for a little bit.
All right. I'll try not to be too long-winded on this. Thanks for having me, guys. I'm 38. My name's Louise Rodriguez. I'm from Toa Baja, Puerto Rico, and I moved to Jersey. Been a wrestling fan since I was 4 years old. First match I ever saw, I was lucky enough to watch, which was Sting Ric Flair, the draw match. That was my introduction to wrestling. Sting was a superhero to me. So, like, I saw Saitama on your thing there. That's why was Sting for me. He was it. I've been following professional wrestling pretty much my whole life. It's my first love. My podcast name, I called it Must Love Wrestling, you know. I trained at Jersey All Pro Wrestling in 2002. I was actually lucky enough to be a part of the class that had Corvus Fear and Jay Lethal.
Nice.
I learned a lot from guys like Fat Frank, you know, God rest his soul. He was the promoter for Jersey All Pro Wrestling. I got to train with guys like Dan Moff and the Hit Squad. Got to learn certain things about psychology, and being an errand boy, getting to set up tables for guys like CM Punk and Bryan Danielson so they could sell their T-shirts at Charity Hall in Bayonne, New Jersey. So got to have lots of conversations with them, the Briscoes, you know, things like that. Just kind of like a fan, you know. It's a really great time. If you guys ever have the chance, go back, Google Jersey All Pro Wrestling, go back and watch those matches. Bryan versus Loki in a tap out match was amazing. It's pretty much been what's up?
We got to have you on the Biconics thing and just pick your brain, because we have like legit questions about a lot of this stuff.
Okay.
I'm quitting now because you know more than any of us. So I'm just gonna leave, Mikey. I'm done.
Oh no, absolutely not.
No, don't you dare leave, because it's going to be a pain in the butt to edit. Don't you dare.
As opposed to the last time when my power went out. I know.
Awesome, man. That's fantastic.
It's so cool.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely been a big love for me. I was kind of raised by a really hardworking dad who told me I need to learn a trade. So at 17 years old, I put a knife in my hand and became a butcher. And that's what I've been doing for the past 21 years of my life. So I, for some reason, thought being a butcher would make me more successful than a wrestler. So I kind of gave up the wrestling thing, but then continued to follow it this way. And then a couple years ago, I just decided to start making content on TikTok, and out of nowhere, some people like it, some people hate it, but as they say, you know, if you don't have haters, you're not doing anything good. So, yeah.
They have feelings about you. That means they care, whether it's good or bad. That's awesome, man. That's so cool.
Yeah.
So
you and I can talk offline.
And that's something we talk about, because I teach theater. So I'm a theater teacher and I'm an acting teacher, and I do stage combat and a lot of fight choreography stuff, and I have friends who've done pro wrestling and things. So that was kind of my background. But yeah, totally got to pick your brain someday about some of this psychology and storytelling stuff.
Yes.
The narrative is what JBL and I tend to lean on a lot. It's sort of like, what story are you telling and why are you making these decisions? Here's how you screwed yourself, because now you have nowhere to go.
Agreed.
So on and so forth. That's great, man.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Dude.
Well, welcome to the show. We're so happy to have you here. New Adolfo is so awesome.
You're so much cooler than us.
Yeah. I mean,
Damn
if you
it,
guys hear noise in the background, I got my daughter here in her high chair and my son over here, so they're just kind of chilling out. But
Are they going to give us their reviews as well? Because I really am interested in what they have to say about it.
No. I had to take my son. I had to take Arthur out of that. He dropped an F-bomb on one of my TikToks yesterday.
Did he at least use it in the correct context? That's all I need to know.
He did. Yeah, he said, I believe it was the Seth Finn match. He said it was fucking awesome, and I was like, whoa,
Yeah.
all right, you know,
Dude, he's gonna be just fine. That's
yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Well, you are definitely much cooler than the rest of us, but
We also don't know that Mikey has a type because look at all the beards on this panel except for Mikey. So
would you shut up?
It's all good.
We'll talk more about that later off camera. I mean, it does go into branding purposes of why this is called the Biconics, but we'll talk about that later. All right. As mentioned at the top of this, we are going to be reviewing WWE Summerslam. Okay, so before
wow. That
I guess we're not going to do the rest of the introductions either. Just, hopefully y'all assume who we are. Hopefully y'all know.
You know us by
New
now.
Adolfo, other Adolfo, Jesus. I got it.
the one episode I actually wanted Adolfo to be here, but you'll meet him eventually. It'll be great.
Adolfo got to go see Metallica and Five Finger Death Punch. He's
wow.
10 kills.
And now he's currently in rehearsal for Ren Fair performances later. So
Who
good.
does that? Who's in shows?
I know.
Man.
All right, before we jump into this review, I guess let's just do overall thoughts because across my inner friend circle and just the wrestling internet community in general, I have never seen a pay-per-view in recent memory. Oh, I'm sorry, PLE. Can
we just call it a plea?
A
Like,
plea.
I'm not gonna call it PLEs. That's dumb.
This is
like,
what
pay-per-views and
speaking of a plea.
I still use pay-per-view term.
Yeah.
I still
I
use
do
that
that.
terminology.
Yeah, I still call PPVs.
Speaking of a plea, that's exactly how I was feeling this entire SummerSlam. I was pleading for things to take off
Yeah,
or happen, and outside of maybe 2 matches per se, nothing really took off. It was so underwhelming is the best way I could describe this. Those are my overall thoughts, but
Thanks for coming.
Thank you for tuning into the Biconics Wrestling
Yep.
God.
Just do exactly like how I said we'll do if SmackDown was really bad. It fucking sucks. All right, talk to y'all later.
But see, not this.
0 out of 5 minis.
Oh, jeez.
Exactly.
All right,
So
go for it.
I kind of feel the same way. I think I was underwhelmed because I had such high expectations because we finally had a good SmackDown for the first time in 6 weeks. Like we were kind of on this illusion of a high. Like, oh hey, we're going into the going home show. We almost set this up. Oh, there might be something cool here. So I don't know if it was me setting the bar so high, or if it was the illusion of the bar being that high or whatever. I'm not sure. Or the pageantry, because we knew leading up to this, all of the plot lines and storylines was just a foobar. I'm trying not to demonetize. Was not right.
Yeah.
Minnie's already swore 3 times. You're fine.
I know, but it's funny when Minnie does it. It's weird when I do it.
It's true.
It's we didn't have an articulate here is where we're going. And even when we had our picks, I don't want to say the picks were easy, but we just kind of saw through it, right? It was sort of like, oh yeah.
This was predictable.
It was very predictable in that sense.
I will say for the picks, it was predictable, but all of us tried not to pick predictable picks because we're all contrarians.
Right.
Like, there were a couple there, like, it was just like we wanted it to be better, so we tried to force it in the universe, and it definitely didn't happen.
So we'll get there when we get there. For an example, I picked Karrion Kross to win the Rumble because I was like, they hate the fans. They hate us. They're going to do something to make us hate this, and they're going to make LA Knight Karrion Kross.
I would have been super pumped about that, though, because I like
Really?
Karrion Kross.
We'll
Yeah.
talk about Karrion Kross then.
Wow. That's
I picked
talk
Austin
about
Theory to win
that's
that
the
thing
new
too.
one. I don't think I've heard that one before.
You
I
like
think-
Creator
Yeah.
Wrestler 57?
I think he's being used. I don't think he's being used correctly.
That's what I was going to say.
Terribly used.
Terribly. And I think that does him a disservice, too, because we don't see him at his best. But
Yeah.
then
I
all
will
of a sudden,
say-
Karrion Kross is all of a sudden in the top 4 or 5, the last 5. And I was like, oh my God, if I'm right about this, I'm going to be so mad.
Now, here's what pissed me off the most, though, is who was in the Rumble portion of that match, because fucking Omos was out there. And if you want to listen to the podcast, you know about my disdain with Omos.
He's the Omos.
Not an Homo sapien.
Not a homosexual. Not a homosexual.
No.
No, not interested.
I am the biggest hater of Omos because they brought him up way too soon,
Yeah.
and the dude has like 3 moves he can do,
Yeah.
and that's about it. He's just terrible.
I mean,
Yeah,
Roman Reigns has 5. Almost.
But he's got big teeth, so he's good.
He's got pretty teeth.
I don't agree with the Roman stuff though. But I feel like what we've seen with them use Matt Riddle, how they've just kind of like tried to save his career. I don't know why they didn't do that, because they had a wrestler as big as Omos that could have been super over now. If they would have just taken the time, sent them to therapy, this could have been Big Cass, and he would have been like the future big man of the business. I don't know what happened.
Which he was really well in Collision, and you saw what could have been done with him when he was there with Brian Cage. But I'm not going to bring him much more AEW on this WWE PLE thing. That's my wheelhouse.
Mikey, where are we going?
Well, so let's just jump straight into it. We might as well just get to it. So first match. First, I will say this is my pet peeve. I hate that on the pre-show we get all these promo packages, and then they air the same promo packages on the pay-per-view. The same promo packages that we got on Raw and SmackDown go home. Just it's too much. And I'm gonna bring it up during Cody and I'm gonna bring it up during Cody and Brock, because that video package was the 3rd time this week that I watched it. So we'll talk about it. But opening up SummerSlam this year is the most viral match, according to WWE, that they were trying to go for. Logan Paul versus Ricochet. Everybody knows. Go ahead.
I was disappointed with this. Neither of the participants got COVID, and so this was not the most viral match I was expecting.
You are so stupid.
I see what you did there.
I mean, there's a lot of like really close interaction, and there was sweat on each other and chops and stuff.
Yeah.
No COVID. I was expecting.
Is that going to happen someday? The first one to lose. If you get COVID and you test positive, you lose the match. It's over. No.
It's the first sniffle match instead of first blood. But
you're out of here. What? I didn't sneeze. You're out of the match.
This is
Vince McMahon's the referee because sneezing's bad.
I mean, he's out for a little bit of time.
I wouldn't be surprised if that's the kind of match that WWE's will put on. Like at this point,
we'll talk about the resurgence of the bra and panty match during Cody and Brock. We'll talk about that later.
Shoot.
Anyways, so this match.
What the hell did I miss during that match?
So I wanted to not like it. The second time I watched it, I actually really appreciated it more. The first time I watched it, I kind of went in with I tried to drop my Logan Paul I hate you bias as much as I can, because as a performer and as an athlete, he's amazing. He's really good. Ricochet took really good care of him. They're communicating all the time. I didn't mind seeing the communication in the ring for this match. There's a few other matches where I was like, hey, you're telegraphing a little too much. I know you're in an arena. I know you gotta be on the same page. I didn't hate this match. I thought Ricochet really took care of him. I already said that. Some of the spots in here were great. I think in my mind what this match should be, it just was never going to be close, because in my head it was just going to be the two of them flying around like fireworks.
Yeah.
Basically Osprey Ricochet is what you were looking for, which
sure. And it wasn't quite that. They missed there was one thing, the Spanish Fly, they had a miss, which it looked like a big miss, and then they just looked at each other, hit each other, and then did it again. It was kind of like, good save.
Third time's the charm. They missed it twice. Mm-hmm.
Well, and they missed it in the previous pay-per-view into the tables, too. Like, that's a spot they have not hit yet.
So
the same with the recoil that didn't work, where all of a sudden, like, he fell down off of a face smash, and it was supposed to be a neck breaker. I don't know, it was weird.
Yeah.
I think, and that's just I think Logan knows how to be a heel and is a great heel, but is still kind of learning how to communicate and not be held up by the other wrestlers. So I think he was stuck on book, to use the theater term, right? Where are we next? Where are we going? What's next?
Yeah.
Second half really flowed well for me. Those are some of the worst brass knuckles I've ever seen. Those were just plastic things painted with gold paint from Michaels. Like, that was not...
Where was that Regal? You need Regal with the stuff right there. That would be perfect.
Yeah, Regal would be disappointed, though. That was pretty rough. Yeah.
So Minnie, to answer your question, I had to do some research, but the internet, always comes through. That apparently is Logan Paul's manager that gave him the brass knuckles.
So my part of my pick was an influencer interrupts and messes with this match.
Mm-hmm.
And all that needed to be was not his manager. It could have been anyone else from YouTube land.
KSI comes back.
KSI hands him like anything just to
Adam
make
Blom
it weird.
just walks right anyway.
Oh my!
oh my God, it's that kid Ryan from Ryan's Toy Review. He's here. Like anything. Like just make it strange.
Yeah.
It's PewDiePie. He's saying the N-word again.
PewDiePie's here. Why?
I mean, that would make sense with Logan Paul being there. But can I ask an honest question about this? And I'm asking our viewers about this too. If you want to put in the comments on this video what you thought about it. For me, the match, it's not that I didn't expect it to be the way it was. I thought it was good for what it was. I feel like commentary dragged it down. Michael Cole had no idea where he was.
Yeah.
Once I turned them down, it was more fun to watch. But
yeah, that's true.
I have a bone to pick with Corey Graves this entire pay-per-view.
Yeah.
As we kept going, I just yelled at my television. I'm like, Corey Graves, shut up.
Yeah.
Honestly,
what I liked about this match was I feel like what it did is it could help Ricochet in the future, because this is a pretty big spot for him, and I've always kind of been like this Ricochet, like you said, you're an Orange Cassidy fan. I'm a Ricochet fan. I've been a fan of his since he was Prince Puma. I really
let's go.
I don't know.
Nice.
I'm really hoping for like a storyline where he like kayfabe has an injury, has to leave wrestling, and comes back as the Puma. Like I want that. You know,
I was talking about this with my friend when we were watching it.
I love this guy.
Make Prince Puma like his demon.
Yeah.
Ricochet can't win a match. Ricochet can't
Don't have
and then he comes
4 out
back.
of 5 matches like the Demon does. So,
But they brought this up on commentary. That's the one thing I do remember is that this is his second ever SummerSlam match. He's been with the company how long? What does that say about them using Ricochet the wrong way? He finally gets a second match, and he gets to be the curtain jerker, which is awesome.
Yeah. That's a big spot. A lot of people.
Cole made a comment about that, right? Was sort of like he's always wanted to kick off a big PLE event. We're like, oh,
yeah. I mean, he's money to me. I feel like everything that was said, all the rumors that were said back in the day about Finn Balor before the injury at the SummerSlam, which I guess we'll touch on later. I always felt like all the comments that were made about Finn Balor then, that's how I feel about Ricochet. I feel like he's money. Like, and you send him to some acting classes. That way he can cut better promos. He got better as this Logan Paul, story went on. I don't know.
We talk acting. We talk acting in the promos a lot. We talk acting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like their thing. They love to dissect promos, and I'm just like, I really don't care about them. I just like to see what happens inside the ring.
I mean, I don't know. I got to be honest with you. When we were trying to like learn, like, you know, before promo class became a promo class thing, like the promoter that I worked with, he used to tell us like mirror acting, where we just go to the bathroom and talk to ourselves in the mirror. Like that's how we had to like do it and stuff. And you just kind of get it that way. Like have them do that type of stuff. Like practice in a hotel room. You know, whatever you got to do. I don't know.
Well, and they've got it set up now where you could set your phone up and tape yourself doing a promo and watch it back. Like it's not like the old days. Even if they were doing it on a VHS or a camcorder, you can't get that footage back. Whereas now you can get immediate reaction, like, oh yeah, I looked this way and it looked a little weird, or like, screw it. So
what I do love about this match, storytelling wise and acting wise, is that this angle with Ricochet and his fiance being the ring announcer, and sort of this link to Logan Paul and Corey Graves doing it a little heavy-handedly, but sort of pushing out this sort of triangle of what does this mean? What does this look like? There's just there's a kernel of something there, and I think that gives Ricochet something to do. It gets him active. It gets him a reason to have these promos and tell that story. I think that's huge, and I agree with you. I really hope they push him. I hope it keeps going forward.
I really want this to go to Mania. I don't want this to end. I mean, Triple H is all about long-term storytelling, so like let us get there. Give us a big match at WrestleMania.
So get a cage match at Survivor Series.
Yeah.
Because they can't get out of the ring, so they're flipping off the damn cage. Mm-hmm. Then you stick them in like a First Blood or some big thing at the end, like Hell in a Cell or something at WrestleMania. Like,
bro, we're never gonna get a First Blood match because WWE doesn't want people to bleed on their product.
Did we do
maybe
a Samantha Flair on a pole match?
No.
No.
But their fiancés on opposite ends of the ring.
Fiance on a pole match.
Oh, they did it with Buff Bagwell's mother, so
that's right.
Knowledge.
Put Dominic Mysterio's custody. We got this.
Yeah, exactly. We'll figure it out.
Call Gatorade back. Get the black lights out. Let's go. Come on, Ricochet.
It's Mountain Dew. John is Mountain Dew.
We don't talk about the Mountain Dew blackout match anymore.
Talk about the blackout match.
John doesn't realize the difference between Gatorade and Mountain Dew. But back to the First Blood thing, Mikey. Because of Endeavor taking it over, there's been talk of actually bringing in more blood on certain shows because Endeavor is a fight sports group.
Listen, normally I would be here for more violence and blood, but I've become so desensitized, and I blame Moxley for this. But
yeah, I was going to say
the man bleeds by breathing.
I know,
but God. 2023, it's the year of hating John Moxley. I don't get it.
I don't think it's hate. I think
I love him. It's just
yeah.
certain tropes that I'm over. Like he bleeds every week, except for the last couple weeks he hasn't. So that's been new.
He did.
I'm also
if I Pasta Head, I prefer Pasta.
Yo, Pasta Head was actually legit. Anyways,
again, SummerSlam was so good. We're back on AEW. Keep going.
Yep.
Again, our brains are all over the place, but I will be honest, the first maybe 10 minutes for this match, for me it kind of took a while for me to get into. I was like, okay, we're feeling each other out, we're seeing what we can do, and then it started to pick up. I was like, cool, and then I saw the brass knuckles. I'm like, oh. I'm like, that's how we're doing it. All right, I guess.
It's Logan Paul. He's a heel.
I guess.
Yeah, I actually thought that's what was missing from his character, because I felt like he was like a heel who wanted to be a babyface. Like he's kind of said like he doesn't really enjoy being booed. So we finally got it. Here we go. You're a heel and you're gonna embrace it. So
wait a minute. A celebrity wrestler / like someone who's a good athlete comes in, doesn't want to get booed, works against it, but then actually figures out to turn it around instead of being Ronda Rousey and forcing the fact that we're a babyface down our throats.
Oh, we have
weird.
We have some.
He said, I've listened to some of, I might get hate for this. I've actually listened to some of his podcasts, Logan Paul's podcasts, when he does it with other wrestlers, because I'm like, I want to listen to this. It sounds dope. He was talking with Seth Rollins how at first he hated being booed, but then he just started embracing it. It was like, it's so much fun now.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, now we just need you to do some slimy shit. And he did it. He punched dude in the face with plastic.
I don't hate that he cheated with the brass knuckles. The theater person in me wanted it to be a little bigger, show me a little more. Make it an event, get some heat doing it, like make it a thing instead of trying to make it look super sneaky, look at me, I'm the bad guy. Like if you're going to be the bad guy, be a huge bad guy.
Yeah.
The way it was being set up with Ricochet holding on to the ref too, I thought he was going to clock the ref first. We get a ref bump and then hit him a couple times. Then
knock out the ref.
Yeah,
I was expecting a low blow from Logan
with the knucks.
No, just I didn't expect the knucks. I expected him just to low blow him. Like I expected some sort of ref shenanigans and then a low blow. That's how Logan was going to win. That's how I thought the match was going to end personally.
But he went full Regal.
I thought Samantha would have more to do with the match. Like I thought, like Logan
Me
goes
too.
out, flirts with her, does things like that. But I get it, and I understand. Like I know a lot of people were wondering why they use the brass knuckles instead of having him beat him like another way. I feel like this is the best way to do it. He's a celebrity turned wrestler. He can't just go into a wrestling ring and beat a guy who's been doing it for 20 years. He's got to beat him with some shenanigans.
Yeah, I buy that. I just wish that they took a little bit more time to beat that moment out and make it a little bit bigger. That's just me nitpicking.
No, I agree.
On the replay of this match, I really enjoyed watching it a second time. Like, oh yeah, they're flying around. Okay, I did not. So that was when I had to humble myself and be like, this was better than I thought. Okay, I gotta
give Logan some credit. That dude has learned how to sell so well.
Oh, great.
Logan was selling Ricochet's kicks like he was being like demolished.
And this is going up against Ricochet, in my opinion, is the biggest proponent of the seller ever.
And I've said this. I've said this before in the past, and it's this happens with sort of folks who go from one sport to another and come here. Excuse me. It's almost like Logan Paul is a little too athletic, gets a little too much height, gets a little too much this. Just tamp it down, get it a little more controlled, so that you have a longevity in this sport. And sell. It's hard to articulate, if that makes any sense, right? Does the frog splash? It's beautiful, but it's way super high. Like you're coming down at a weird angle if you do it like that. Okay.
Yeah.
Little tweaky things like that.
He's hitting RVD heights with it at this point. Where he's hitting up that.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like they've taken the specialness out of it, because I feel like a year ago everybody was talking about Montez's frog splash, and now nobody's talking about it anymore. Now all anybody cares about is Logan's. Although Dirty Dom does have the best frog splash in the business, though.
He's at the smoothest one right now.
He has completely replicated Eddie's frog splash.
Absolutely. We were just talking about that the other day. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Totally.
All right. So Logan wins, so that kind of opens up SummerSlam, and then they waste no time. We just go into the next one.
And Minnie tuned out at this point.
This is what
I was watching it last night, and I was like, it was good. It's a video package. Okay.
Oh, okay. So next we have At first, on first watch, when I was watching it live, I was surprised. I was like, "Oh, we're putting this here. Okay, I guess. Sure, why not?" But I guess it made sense. So Brock Lesnar versus Cody Rhodes. This is the third match in their trilogy.
Yep.
Was Cody's
Cody
cape?
Rhodes.
Cody's cape was broken. Was that what happened?
Okay, like I had like upon second watch, I was like zooming in with the microscope with like a magnifying glass. I was like, I don't know if that's just the design choice, but it looked. I don't know if that's what it was. Like he's doing the one arm cape thing. If it didn't connect to the other side, he looked like it was a bird with his wing with one of his wings
It
clipped.
looked like that old Victorian like French side cape.
Cape,
And I was like,
it was
oh,
like a
that's a
capelet,
choice.
yeah.
Cool.
I just needed Cody to wear a mask in Phantom of the Opera. Here we come.
There's no need to update his look. He should just stick with the Homelander look. It's perfect. It's perfect.
Could it have been a sly little dig at Mr. who I didn't sign with WWE, Mr. Omega, who's still over at AEW because One Winged Angel?
I was thinking. the
Oh
same
my
thing.
god!
Really?
That's
Damn,
nice.
that'd be crazy.
I like that. I like that.
Really? I
So we had the
wonder.
They
One
didn't miss
Winged
out. They're
Angel.
fine.
Yeah. No, I don't. I honestly, they wouldn't have.
Done.
I don't think they would have been used as.
Oh no,
well.
one guy would be a superstar if he went to WWE.
Yes,
Just
Nick
one
Jackson.
guy.
Nick Jackson.
No.
Oh my bad. The other one.
Yeah.
Yeah, the other Jackson. No. So we had One Winged Angel versus Cock Lesnar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Match of the night.
Ooh.
Wow. Ooh, interesting. You like a lot of sweat, don't you?
I thought this match was genuinely made to make Cody like the next guy. You have Cody beat Brock Lesnar clean, even though I don't know why they used the steel steps.
I was gonna just gonna
What did that have warranted a DQ? Was my question. I'm like,
I don't understand that part, but that was the only flaw to me for this match. I just really thought we needed this because Brock dominates people, and that's exactly what he did. And it was like Cody had no he just wouldn't give up, and he just kept going in there. It was a good story told to us. I love the ending. I love the improv. Now that we know after the scrum that was a improv by Brock, there's no better way to put someone over.
I said this to my friend when we were watching it because he was like, "Why would they do this? Like Cody won 3 in a row. What the heck is this?" I said to him basically, Brock was the last big threat Roman had for the last 3 years. He was told he couldn't go after the title or anything else. How do you put the rub back on Cody after losing it? You have Brock give him that moment. You have Brock set him up as he beat me. Roman's next, and that's where you're setting him up to go because otherwise the shine's not on him anymore.
Yeah.
Brock is just tossing Cody around like it's like he waits.
I thought we were gonna get SummerSlam 20. What was it? 2013, 2014, Suplex City Part 2.
Oh, that's one of my favorite main events. I love that. I'm not a big John Cena fan, so I enjoy that. I go back whenever I'm feeling like emotionally down. I go back and watch that. It just makes me happy.
That's great.
It's like it's like my happy place. It's either watch that or Pet Detective. One of the two. I'm just gonna be. I'm gonna love it.
That is a choice.
Yeah.
That's a hard choice right there.
Yeah.
And speaking of which, Pet Detective, you got the nice ripped jeans and everything else from the shark thing. You've got Cock Lesnar with his shorts falling apart.
I was trying to figure out upon second rewatch. I'm like, how did that happen?
So I don't know where it is.
I was super confused. I saw a flash of color. I went, that's not the color of his shorts.
I made notes of this on my second replay. There's some hard edge or some edge on the mat or the ring somewhere. Because Finn had a scratch right along the back of his ribs.
Yeah.
Seth got one on his ribs. Cody had that gnarly one on his ribs. Brock's shorts got ripped up. I had another
Roman.
one. Roman had one. Like,
on
there's
his elbow.
something somewhere on that ring or where like, they were getting capped on.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it was the actual thing beyond the turnbuckle, that SummerSlam, whatever that was, or if there was something else outside of it, but they were running into it, whatever it was, all night, was my take. Like, they're running up against something. Because that's every single one of them.
Could have been the edge of the LED boards, too, if they were a little bit sharper on that as they're going over the edge.
I
Maybe.
think so. Because it seemed like every time they went out to the ring and came back in, the camera pulled back, and it's like something scratched them somewhere.
Yeah.
So my thought when I watched this was, and I know it's not popular, I thought that was an impromptu ending. I thought that when he ripped his pants, they were like, all right, let's go home. And that's why Lesnar extended it with that improv at the end. It just really felt like, oh, we're supposed to be out here for more time. Let me just give Cody a rub. And that's what happened. Because Cody looked genuinely confused.
Oh, yeah.
He was.
Yeah. And from the two other recaps that I watched, they were like, yeah, it looks like Cody was standing like, oh my God, this guy's going to actually snap.
This was one of two wardrobe malfunctions, which we'll talk about the second one.
I embarrassed Brock Lesnar. We've all stared at his junk. This is how I die. This is how, you know?
Yep. As long as he had that bucket of Coors Light in Brock's locker room, I'm sure everything's going to be fine.
Exactly.
Yeah.
My moment of the night tonight was in this match as well, because when Cody fired back up and is chopping the hell out of his chest, sweat flying off Brock, I'm like, oh, that is a photo finish right there. That is amazing. Just the visual of the sweat coming off.
Knowing that it was an impromptu improv thing helps me a little now, just in that the dialogue of Brock yelling, stay down, stay down, stay down. If you're going to gatekeep this position and hand it over to Cody, you're not saying stay down, stay down. You're saying get up. Come on, come at me. Prove it, as opposed to
breaking you,
go ahead, I'm just going to, right? So there was a little, storytelling-wise, I'm a little like, maybe you should have thought the other way around. So him yelling at Michael Cole, like, tell him to stay down. And Michael Cole going, yeah, just stay down. You know what's good for you. It's like, well, we already know Cody's going to do the opposite. So then playwright brain, think the inverse of come get some, and you're
Wouldn't that play into like the classic bully trope though? Like, he's the bully telling him like stay down or I'm going to keep going, and then Cody's like, nah, I'm not staying down. You know what I mean? Like,
sure. But so then if that's the ending, if the ending is I pin you clean 1, 2, 3, it's over. But if it's I beat you, Kimura you, and it's all right, I'm going to hand this over to you. Now we're friends. You bested me by coming at me. That's different than I'm territorial, stay down, I'm still the guy.
Yeah.
But now for me, if it's an improv and this is that ad-lib impromptu moment, that's Brock talking to Cody. That's breaking kayfabe like, hey, you know what? Thank you. And I love personal touches like that. I think that's great.
Yeah, I always feel like it's forced. Like, we got the Damian and Edge thing forced to us, the Undertaker John Cena thing. This was like a genuine moment, and whether it happened only because Lesnar ripped his shorts, it works out.
You beat me. You ripped my shorts. Good job, kid.
I'm just watching I just keep watching Brock just keep knocking Cody out of the ring and just walking away.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Something Cody does on the suplexes, and I've seen this a lot. And since you're all trained, and this, you're thinking I'm gonna go. He looks over his shoulder and he puts his elbow down every single time. And I'm terrified that someday he's just gonna, I don't know, blow out the whole side of his body.
It's so weird.
It's a bad habit. And I am sitting in a chair with half my shirt unbuttoned telling you what a bad habit is in pro wrestling. But I'm worried about you, Cody.
Yeah.
Because he's up so high and he's looking over his shoulder and he's coming straight down. And he's even throwing that arm out to brace. It's like, dude, that's day one stuff. Don't do that. Your arm's going to shatter.
You know what's funny? If you guys go back to like the original Tough Enough, the one that Taz was like one of the coaches, Taz said he could fall in a grocery store. He could slip on milk and he would take a back bump and tuck his head. Right? And that's what they teach you in wrestling school. And every time I watch Cody do that, I'm just like, why? I mean, even The Rock, who doesn't take the best bumps, he does he'll hold his head. I don't know if you remember when The Rock took back body drops or anything like that. He always held his head. Like, you could do that, it would be safer than what you're doing. You're right. He's gonna blow out his shoulder one day.
Because The Rock would hold his head.
Repaired.
Which is he's gonna blow out.
It's the other one. Yeah, it's the other one.
He keeps landing on the other ones. Like, you're gonna. What are you doing?
I just saw that now. I'm like, damn. Yeah, he's throwing his arm back like that.
Right now.
Yeah, he does it every German suplex.
Yeah. And at least The Rock was kind of landing that way and then throwing himself into a sit-up. Boom! And then he just fell it up and over. So he would...
Not to bring up the same way, Moxley does the same thing, and Mox takes it like Cody, where he doesn't put the legs up to get more rotation through. He does sandbagging, but he still does the head part because he's taking that way. So that makes sense.
So, and they're all going to have their own style and their own nuances. But after about the 15th one, I was like, please don't! Oh my god!
Yeah. Everybody has their Bret Hart chops, you know what I mean? Like, I don't like to take them. So maybe that's what it is for them. Maybe that's what it is. Cody doesn't like Germans.
Could be.
Yeah.
And again, on the second watch of this match, I liked it more. In the moment of it, I kind of went, where are we going? What are we doing? Knowing that was an impromptu moment sells way better, as opposed to why were we building up to this gatekeeping match?
Mm-hmm.
Well, how did this earn it for you? This earned it for you? What? So knowing that might have been a kayfabe break of, hey, I like you. Take care.
Why the hell is Brock sweating so damn much? He literally.
That's what I was saying. I'm like, this man. I was like, this man is lactating baby oil? Like, what is happening here?
Oh man, this is nothing like WrestleMania 32.
Oh my god.
This is what he does, man. I don't understand. He's been like this since like 2004. Like he's just always like had this massive amount of sweat in the ring. I don't even know how it's possible to hold him.
I have figured out why. I have proven scientifically why this was. Think of Brock's career before he joined WWE. Before he went over to football, he was an amateur wrestler, right? He would wear the tights and everything else. What is the best way, the best natural defense against someone who's trying to grapple you without putting baby oil on? To sweat profusely. He has trained himself to slip out of every hold. Drenching himself in sweat.
You can train yourself to do that? Can you really?
Yeah.
Clench everything, really like hold it in so that you're getting hotter and hotter, and therefore your body has to perspire more to like get you. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I used to do that.
You never like forcefully sweat on stage?
No.
I guess I'm the only one. I've done a couple improv shows where like I had to be sweating and weird, and I could force myself by tensing up to like actually get hotter and start to sweat.
I choose you, Brock Lesnar. Sweat attack. Sweat attack.
There's a water. He's a water.
There were puddles on this mat, bro. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah.
I mean, Brock didn't sweat that much in MMA matches, which I would think it really would have come in handy.
Well, he moved around there.
That's also very true.
He air tried himself.
I was surprised that we got 17 minutes of this match. I'm like, this is the longest Brock Lesnar match I have seen in the last couple of years. In the modern era, I was like, whoa.
Well, that tells you right there how important this was to Brock, because he doesn't do that. I mean, this is clear. You know, he wanted to put Cody over. So
how did he not get DQ by hitting with steps?
That's what I said. I was like,
that was so
okay.
Behind us.
So this was my only issue with the match, because I felt like since this was the third one, maybe it's just me from a storytelling perspective. You had a match where the Turnbuckle got involved at Backlash, then Cody passing out at Night of Champions. From a writer's perspective, I would have the third match have some sort of stipulation. I'm kind of surprised we didn't get any type of stipulation, like, I don't know, last man standing.
The one that Cody wanted wasn't going to be available to him, apparently.
The blow out the pec match?
Exactly. No, he tried to do that on the turnbuckle. No, the bull rope match.
Well,
that would have been cool.
I don't see why not. We kind of got a bull. Well, I mean, the match type itself, but we did get the bull rope, and Minnie and Professor here can back me up on this. We got it with a women's match on Great American Bash.
Selena Vega rocked her with that thing.
Yep.
It was Roxanne Perez.
Yes. Not all Mexican women look the same, John. How dare you?
Is it Roxanne Perez on that?
It was Roxanne
Yeah, it was
Perez.
Roxanne Perez.
I know she's tiny, but come on, dude.
She busted out the kettlebells, sort of beating the crap.
Oh,
Yeah.
shit. Yes,
Claire Davenport, not B. Priestley.
Yeah.
I've watched a lot of wrestling the last 7 days. So
Honestly, it kind of blends together.
that's my fault.
I was pleasantly surprised with Brock versus Cody. Honestly, this is probably my favorite of the three that we got for the trilogy, but I'm also glad that we're done with this for now, so Cody can move on to whoever's next for him. The reports.
Don't be Bray Wyatt.
That's what the reports say. I hope not, because that would not do anything for either man. And
There's been only one person that has survived a recent Bray Wyatt program, and that's been LA Knight somehow.
That was weird too. I was like, LA Knight's the only one to survive a Bray Wyatt match and live to tell the tale.
The rumors it's going to be Cody and Bray Wyatt?
That's what the reports have been.
But he's not cleared yet.
No, he's not. The rumor was, had he been, he was going to interfere in this match, and like because he had set up Brock before Elimination Chamber as his next opponent, so it was the place to put him. But you don't want that for either guy because Brock doesn't want to work with him. So
Yeah.
Weird.
I wouldn't mind seeing Cody and Gunther.
Honestly,
that would up the Rumble. I want that so bad.
Seriously,
don't give us the match till after he breaks the record, and then have Cody win the IC title. Bring back, like that.
I don't hate that.
We'll talk about it during the IC title match, but I got into a full-blown argument with my friend.
Go, Mikey, go. Go, Mikey, go.
We'll talk about it in a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to be honest. I thought this next match was going to be the P-Break match, but then it kind of won me over was the Slim Jim. Yes, the Slim Jim Battle Royale. Followed by the commercial after the match, which I hysterically laughed at.
Yeah.
Was the Slim Jim Battle Royale?
Yeah, Slim Jim Battle Royale. This was the first of many product placements.
There it is.
Oh my goodness. I mean, it's
Not the This is how far back I am right now. I'm at the Cody putting the Kimura lock on Brock Lesnar.
Bro.
It wasn't a full Kimura. He can't bend his arm back that far. It was too big.
Yeah.
Are you trying to study for the test while taking the test?
Yes.
Oh, that's what I'm doing. Totally. I was like, what did I end up last night? Apparently, I watched the first part of the Cody versus Brock match, but yeah, Cody just
passed out.
Kimura lock. That's where I'm at.
Oh my gosh. So
I'll get to the Battle Royal here in a second.
honestly, so this Battle Royal, I shouldn't have gone against my boy LA Knight, but I've been conditioned with WWE logic that if you stand tall on the go home show, you're about to get wrecked on the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
So with LA Knight beating Sheamus, I was just like, all right, well, based on who was standing in the ring on SmackDown, I picked Grayson to win because that'd be kind of hilarious to me. I'm a Grayson Waller stan, whatever you want to call it. He's just a little shit. I love him. But no, I was wrong. We don't have to go through the whole thing. The only thing that I care about is we get to the Final Four, which I'm surprised to see. Well, I mean, not really, because he's the only big guy left. But I was kind of surprised to see Bronson make Final Four here.
I love Bronson.
I love Bronson, but
I'm glad that to see. Because I'm reviewing SmackDown. I haven't seen him in a while, so that made me happy.
I mean, he's on Raw, but
I haven't seen him. That's what I'm saying. I'm always watching SmackDown. I haven't seen him.
That's true.
Is it bad that I want, like, in a random B pay-per-view, just have a triple threat between Bronson, Otis, and Ivar?
No, give it to me now.
All big, agile, like Big Ben, and just like them flipping around, Vader bombing each other.
Keith Lee back for one match.
Exactly.
Oh, it'd be amazing.
But
I don't. I did not.
What do we call that match?
We call that the Shockwave.
we call that the Richter scale.
Richter.
I want to give Omos just a tiniest bit of credit before Minnie gets mad at me about it.
Dare you?
How dare
Watch your match. Watch your match, man.
I agree with a few other wrestling celebrities, Simon Miller and a few others that were talking and writing about this. If you just make Omos himself, we might actually like him. WWE's not going to do that because
have him be a giant nerd. I'd love it.
And yeah,
giant
have
weeb.
him just be his friendly nerdy self and make him a face. Might actually get some push and more than just I'm a big scary black man. Make him a heel. It's like, come on, Vince McMahon.
You mean give him the Andre the Giant treatment? What Andre was when he was in the territories? Make him Andre, who's the big lovable goof who just like takes on all the heels, beats them all up in 3 moves, and then moves on.
Yeah.
I mean, Andre's.
Yeah, sure.
What was that, Louis?
I said Andre's a spectacle, so like, I mean, I don't think Omos is that.
He's not there yet, but if you use him sparingly and you make him a weeb, I think that could be a spectacle and a half of a giant like anime nerd who beats the crap out of everybody.
If Omos comes out in a bright pink kimono, I would like Omos again.
You know what?
Comes out full weeb.
Put him and Selena Vega as cosplay tag team. I'm here for it.
Braun and Alexa.
Bring back the Mix Max Challenge.
Give me Team Little Big 2.0.
You can do that thing where the Hulk throws Wolverine, like curls him up into a ball.
Yeah.
Special.
Yeah.
Gosh. But
so I think Omos is limited as a wrestler. Probably needs more time to develop. Fine. Physically, though, and far as strength and some mobility, I have a lot more respect for Omos after the Seth Rollins match, even though Seth Rollins kind of held.
Yeah.
Still a fantastic match. I got a lot of respect for Omos after that.
That was great. Yeah. That was a perfect pay-per-view.
Yeah. So
that was.
I think that Omos has to. They got to figure out how to use him. They're not using him quite right, but I actually kind of liked him in this Rumble. I did not hate him throwing folks around.
Yeah, I thought it was good. But the Battle Royal was what it was. They haven't been really that interesting in a long time.
No.
There's been no stakes.
See, if they put some stakes in this, like you get a future, I don't know, some sort of championship match, or you get first crack, or like something special that you get, like, I don't know.
That was a lot of meat in that ring.
That was a lot of meat.
So
that was a lot
all snapped into it.
Snap into the Slim Jim.
Yeah, I was just skipping because I watched the Rock doing the raising Cody's arm thing. And then I skipped after that. I skipped right to when the Miz came out and it cut to the ring. It was just like bodies.
Okay, so
oh, poor Pete Dunne. I hated that when he got thrown out with
that. So let me talk about this real quick because this Battle Royal, I mean, we'll get to the final four and the process to get to our winner.
Sure.
I shouldn't have gotten as mad as I did, but you know what? As the sole NXT person here, you have no idea how much it hurt to watch JD McDonough and Shinsuke and Pete get thrown out so early. I'm just like, oh, what are we doing? Especially JD. I'm like, you called him up to main roster. We haven't seen him on television in a while. Man, I was like, that goes for all of the call-ups they did from NXT. I'm just like, y'all have so much, and where are my NXT folks? So, you'll learn.
It's a wild Cameron Grimes. There goes a wild Cameron Grimes.
Yeah.
I was surprised they let him stay in that long to begin with.
I know.
Because of the fact that apparently main roster doesn't like NXT, but you know what? That's a conversation for another time.
I'm telling you, Shawn Michaels is going to do a coup someday, and it's going to be his own thing. I'm calling my shot on that.
I mean, they could let him run the women's division on the main roster, and it might be better. So.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
I said this on the SmackDown review.
On the women's division.
The NXT women's division is actually doing fairly okay over in NXT, but I still stand by the fact that Impact's women's division is the best book.
AEW, WWE's women's divisions right now.
I said it this morning that I was like, you have on the main roster there are 41 women and only 5 appeared on SummerSlam.
How did Omos run look slow? Ran and it looks slower than his walk.
Because
I
he's
don't
80 feet tall, man.
He'll get to you fast, though. Don't worry about it.
Oh, yeah. Boom to you.
Take like 4 steps to get to you. It's all good.
And I saw it coming, but like I do enjoy like the let's get the big guy out of the ring, everyone work together, power of friendship type of nonsense.
I love that LA Knight was the last one to the pile.
Right?
See that? Everyone's doing it. They're like, LA, come on. He's like,
so heavy-handed.
oh, yeah.
And
And
then
then
like,
at the end.
Oh,
There were a few spots that stood out. I was sad seeing Otis eliminated, but he had a cool moment. I kind of like that Grayson Waller Miz wink at each other moment. That was kind of somewhere in the middle. I was like, oh, that tells me something.
Don't team him up, please.
I would love to see an old school Hollywood Blondes type of I
No.
hate you because you're famous thing.
No.
I would hate them. It'd be great.
How about a ratings battle between the Grayson Waller effect and Miz TV? Like they're battling each other for ratings on Raw.
Okay, then I would be into it.
Good story.
Do it for followers. Like I got
Yeah.
more followers. Like just talk about the follower counts and like throw all that jargon
Miz
out
has
there.
to bring Maurice and his kids on to like up his follower count. He's like, "You like families? That's what's big now." Grayson's like, "I don't need a family," and he brings on another big star or something like that, like him on the beach in Australia. But like, it's just like a month or so build of not them wrestling as much, but just their TV shows going head to head like Raw and SmackDown or like Raw. And
Fantastic. If you
And
put the
ends with the
production
ratings
behind-
on a pole match.
Ratings on a pole match.
a Nielsen on a pole match.
Oh my!
in this Nielsen ratings match, whoever gets the most followers by the end of this
I think we'll actually
Or have like a television deal on a pole match where there can only be one talk show on the main roster now.
And Kevin Owens wins.
Gosh. I'm happy to see that Chad Gable actually lasted a lot longer than I thought they were going to, but that might be because he put on a banger with Gunther on Monday. I was very impressed. I was like,
he hung.
Oh,
with
why
it,
did
man.
Omos get like not Omos? Otis get eliminated just like almost off screen.
that was the other one that hurt me too. I was like, let my big man in there still. Come on. But
I know that
Gable's not just calling people.
This must be a cameraman's nightmare, and I get it. And this must be whoever's the producer in the truck calling edits and shots.
Kevin
Oh
Dunn,
my
you
God.
ass.
This must suck, and I know it's super hard and it's awful. But if you're gonna, and this is what we've known this for less than 3 weeks. Like this is relatively fast. This came together, right?
Yeah.
this was in response to, oh shit, LA Knight is not on the card. Let's make the fans happy and give him a win. I'm just like, I still think he should have been the one to face Santos for the U.S. title in that final, but you know what?
And Santos
I let it
randomly
go.
in there and getting eliminated for this.
I will
like,
say I
fine.
did see. I was excited, but I'm also worried because I was happy that he knocked Theory off of the apron. But now I'm afraid he's not going to win on SmackDown, and that hurts.
not.
It makes me nervous.
He's not gonna. Austin Theory is protected by Vince, no matter what. It's
Yeah, I know.
Viking Raiders.
yeah. It's
I'm still hoping for a throwback. I'm still hoping Carlito re-debuts and wins.
Yes. Where's
let's
Carlito?
Go. Let's go.
flanked by Chris Masters as he walks down.
Oh, that would be great.
Well,
The Mysterios are all over the place right now because Dominic
There
is
were so many-
across all the stuff. Ray's going to be in NXT.
Yeah, no, I agree. There were so many spots that were missed, and we caught up just a hair too late with some of these camera shots and things.
Cameraman, you're fired.
And Michael Cole was trying to cover. Graves kind of gave up on this one. He was just sort of, oh, look, that's happening. Like Michael Cole's actually trying to be like, here's what's written down. Where are we going? Oh no, that over there.
Maybe Corey Graves is getting ready for us to have Tyson, come in and be on commentary now, because he's the same way. Like, oh yeah, I love this stuff. That's great. This guy's awesome.
Titus.
Titus O'Neil, just.
So
being there for us.
I have another Titus just falling on accident thing again.
Yeah.
He will never.
That was another battle royal.
Oh yeah.
I will say outside of the ring, because I mean, for primetime players, is still one of my favorite things of a year past or whatever. Primetime players was a fun tag team. I will defend Titus a little bit, only because like what you see in terms of him always being the person to do the community outreach stuff. Like, no, literally, the guy is actually passionate about it. When I was in Tampa for my youth conference, we actually met him, and his organization was where we were donating our supplies that we had to bring into this youth conference was going to. I'm like, this man is actually out here working with community outreach.
Now I know why you volunteered to do that too, because you wanted to be Titus O'Neil. We got it.
Oh, that's why.
See, I didn't find out about that till we actually got there, so colored me surprised when everyone was like, oh, cool, we're meeting this dude, and I'm out here trying, like, internally screaming, trying not to be a fanboy.
Okay. Yeah, but with that Frankensteiner elimination. Yeah, I'm watching the match.
Again, while Mitty is catching up, so Final Four is LA, Bronson, AJ for some... AJ, what are we doing with you, man? Like...
The same...
And Sheamus.
Maybe you guys know this. I asked this before, and I can't quite remember the answer. Why did AJ end up in the mid card? AJ Styles was.
I could tell you why he's in the mid card, because they have nothing for him to do otherwise.
Okay, I know you guys are sad about them being eliminated, but I know he's part of the Brawling Bruce, but I would love to have a Pete Dunne, Matt Riddle tag team.
Yeah.
Just be like a submission-based tag team.
No.
I think they're done with Riddle now. They've kind of made that call.
Do not attach one of my favorite wrestlers to Matt Riddle, please. Do not do this.
What happened? We don't like Matt Riddle anymore. What happened?
So because of how much personal, because of how many personal problems he's having right now, when he got sent to rehab and everything that's happening in his relationship,
having a baby with a second woman, dating a porn star, all the other.
I don't know. I haven't been following the chronicles of Matt Riddle.
I don't really know that either. So,
who would have thought Randy Orton would be the guy to keep him straight?
Seriously,
I can't believe that.
I miss RK Bro. I'm not gonna lie.
Yep.
But back to AJ. I don't know they have nothing for him. That's why they're sticking him in this feud with Karrion Kross, which, by the way, I thought was over until we got confirmation on SmackDown and what happened during this Battle Royal that we're still not done with this feud. And I'm like, just get it over with. Like, just
they can't, because it's not over till Karrion says it is.
Right.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't understand this whole character for Karrion Kross. I don't get it. It seems like they want to push him and they're hoping the fans get behind him like they do LA Knight, but it's just not gonna happen. There's nobody to lead the feud.
He's Character 97 right now. There's nothing they can do.
Character 97, where he's not allowed to lean into his own personality and his own a little bit goofiness. He's trying to be too spooky, which doesn't work for him because he's not a spooky character. He's a badass. That's the point.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys follow him on social media, but he's a jiu-jitsu master and he teaches.
The man is intelligent. His interview with Denise Salcedo is still one of my favorite interviews he has done, because we got insight of who this man is. He's not just a meathead. He's intellectual. Also, the joint interview with him and Scarlett with Renee is also one of my favorites too, because I don't know. It doesn't, for me personally, as much as I was okay with Karrion in NXT, I think immediately I knew it was going to be a tough road for him, because he came out in the Gimp mask, lest we forget, when he went to the main roster.
Lost to Jeff Hardy.
Lost to Jeff Hardy of all people. I'm like, and he was still NXT champion at that time. I was like, damn, way to bury NXT.
I think my indifference to Karrion Kross isn't so much him as a person or a wrestler, because he's amazing. The stuff I've seen him do in the ring, it's just why. What are they doing to you?
They don't know. They don't know.
They've put him in an indifferent position with the fans. Yeah. Where it's like, I don't need or want to see you. Why do you hate that guy? Why are you this and this? What are we doing here? Again, like if they let him be more like jujitsu master and a happier guy, I'd buy it.
Just don't make him Steve Blackman.
No. Don't make him Steve Blackman. Not quite. Go ahead, Louis.
Why would you say that name? That makes me cringe.
Because you put Matt Riddle and Pete Dunne in a tag team.
Oh my god. I don't know what's going on.
I forgot how bad Riddle's outside stuff was. If it wasn't so bad on the outside, I feel like there would be,
No.
No.
Yeah.
You have been voted off the island. Goodbye.
That's fine. I gotta go anyways. I'll have my dad, so I'll take care of y'all later.
No! Don't you dare. No! No!
Oh, Mikey,
Mikey, I'm so sorry.
Nah, it's fine. I learned how to do it, so we're good.
Louis, make your point.
I was just gonna say, I feel like everything you guys brought up about his personality is right. He did some interview with some guy where he talks about like his like culture and everything like that, and why specifically he doesn't have one arm tattooed, and why like he just lets people into like who he is. I don't know why they're doing this with him, but you talked about his loss to Jeff Hardy. I know people think that this is like a conspiracy theory. I feel like that was Vince's way to bury all of NXT, because look at what Triple H did to get Karrion Kross over. The amount of guys that he had him run through that 4-way. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, although it doesn't matter, because I will go to my grave saying this, Adam Cole stopped Karrion Kross's progression. That promo killed his entire character. He never recovered. It's impossible. That promo was so intense, and you could tell he looked like flabbergasted.
It got personal for him there, because there was the fear of it, because Kross knows he's not as good as Cole on the mic. So how do you respond to that? And then how do you respond in character to that when your character's just been run down?
Yeah.
But at the same time, he had the opportunity at that point, if he was allowed to go, all right, I'm dropping this. I'm going to drop your ass, because you can talk all day. I will put you in a pretzel and make you tap. And then that's all he needed to do. Literally just go full on, but he wasn't allowed to.
You know what's funny? Shawn Michaels once said a line about Adam Cole, and I feel like if Karrion Kross would have used it in that promo, he wins it. Which is, if Adam Cole was 6'2", he'd be the most popular wrestler in the world. Like, Adam Cole could have said that. I mean, what's his face? Like, Karrion Kross could have said that. It would have been like, guy, if you were just a little bit taller, maybe you'd be in my spot. Done. Yeah. That's all he needed to say. Because he was a heel at the time. But, yeah, I mean, I don't know if you guys listen to podcasts like... I know the Conan's podcast, those guys, Conan and Disco, they took part a lot in training Karrion Kross, and they've talked about it. His personality is really good. He's really smart, as you said.
He's hilarious. His impressions are hysterical.
Yeah, like, his Jesse the Body Ventura. Yeah, it's great.
Jesse Ventura, like, he waits for folks to rep 400 pounds and then go, you can put a little more, and then just breaks them while they're trying not to die. Yeah. He seems like a funny guy.
Is Minnie actually gone?
Who?
Minnie actually left?
He said that his dad needed him for something, so he had to go. So we'll see what happens.
Manny.
It's all good. Again, we're professionally unprofessional, and that's what gives us our edge, so to speak. But so, Bronson gets out. Bronson of the final four. Bronson gets thrown over first. Karrion Kross is what costs AJ. Our final two is Sheamus and LA Knight. So we get a part 2 from SmackDown, and they actually pull off the move without a botch this time. So that was nice to see. And ultimately, and kind of what was surprising, I thought they would go a little bit more, but LA Knight throws Sheamus over the rope, and LA Knight is your Slim Jim Battle Royal winner.
Sending the crowd home happy.
Well,
third match of the night.
Well, I mean, it looked like a majority of the crowd did leave after that match, because we're gonna have to talk about this.
Expand about what I just said too. I think they were there. If they rearranged a couple of places where the matches were in this, it would have been a better overall pay-per-view. At least story-wise, it would have built. But I feel like it was disjointed all over the place, where there were some matches that didn't need to be where they were,
or some matches didn't need to be on there at all, like this next one.
Let's talk about the next one.
It was
Justice for Katie Vick. Sorry, what?
No.
The Shayna Ronda match, I feel like when we look at this match a year from now, this is actually going to do more harm to Shayna's career than it was meant to be. Like, this was supposed to help her and push her. Like, oh, I vanquished Ronda, but I feel like what happens here is nobody cares.
So I'm an MMA nerd. I watched that for 20 years of my life, and then I got really mad at the UFC deal a year ago, and I've had a hard time with fighter pay and other stuff for a while. And then I watched wrestling before that. So watching MMA that's in this style I can't. It took me out of it because I know the move is wrong. I know your leverage is off. I know my son's in jiu-jitsu classes. I hang out with these people. So like, there was a lot of things where I was like, I don't buy it because you're trying to sell me something. This is similar to what Ken Shamrock and Dan Severn and all those MMA guys in the late 90s, early 2000s ran into, where it's like, I don't believe you because I follow it and I'm paying attention. I digress. So the crowd was silent for the first half of this. They pumped in sound. Like I caught them doing it both times. Like, nope, then that's the sound cue. And that's them not making any noise. Nobody knows what to do. Nobody knows what they're watching. Because they're ground fighting in a ring, and I can't see it from my seats.
And on top of that, you look at the pictures from backstage people just released today of the line for the bathroom. Everyone's up out of their seats trying to go to the bathroom.
Exactly. It's like, why?
I think
put it
the
in the
general
Lions Den. Put it in the fight pit. Put it somewhere where there's a stipulation that makes sense with this.
Absolutely.
Yes.
As I said to Mikey before we actually turned this on, I said they have two matches of reference, the Owen Hart and like Ken Shamrock match, and then the Lions Den match. They could have used either one of those to help further this feud or get it to a certain point, but I don't know. And this was some of Ronda's best work, like on the mic.
Yeah.
This
so
is
frustrating.
It made me mad because the video packages they played this week made me actually care about this match, and then it was like a wet fart. I was like, oh.
I will say the result was right for the match itself. The final back and forth was right, getting her to tap out or pass out, basically. But getting there, even with the kind of worked knee that busted the side of Shayna's face open, it still wasn't. It just. You couldn't decide what you wanted, and the two of them definitely, while knowing how to wrestle, were fighting themselves to figure out how to make this work, because you could tell they wanted to just go out and have a fight.
Which they should have.
I think they should have. If you're gonna do an MMA match, fuck it. So you're like, hey, so here's where SummerSlam is. Great, we're gonna go down the street to another arena, and here's a cage.
Or
100 fans who bought tickets for this. And we're going to watch them fight for 5 rounds in 2 minutes.
Or hear me out. If you wanted to do this MMA feel, like I know how much of a pain it would be to remove the post, but we literally just had an underground match in NXT like 3 weeks ago. You could do that. Just remove the remotes. Just have the ring and have them kill each other.
The whole presentation of the match was crap, though. Like, you have these girls go out there and have a fight in wrestling gear. Like, if they're going to have a fight, like... We're going back to SummerSlam 2002. We're going back to Shawn Michaels, Triple H. Shawn Michaels came out in that match in jeans. Like, I'm going to fight you. This is unsanctioned. Like, this has happened before. Right. We could have seen Ronda look like the way she looked in UFC, and Shayna. Shayna, they could have used the fact that Shayna in MMA beat Amanda Nunes, and Amanda Nunes crushed Ronda. They could have used that in this. There was so many mistakes with this feud. I don't get it. That's why I feel like it's gonna hurt Shayna.
Where's my boiler room brawl?
Yes, that would have been great.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think and the subtle wrestling nods they made to make sure, hey, we're still in wrestling. Like Ronda reaching for the ropes twice, 2 different times. Like, Ronda, you know you can't do that. You're in an MMA match.
Yeah.
Or rolling out of the ring. Both of them have a let's roll out of the ring moments. Like, you can't roll out of the ring. It's an MMA. If this was real MMA, I'm going to kick you in the face, and now I'm going to pounce on you because I got you.
Yeah.
So that stuff took me out.
So weird. I feel like this could have been a great way to introduce Dana White because of their partnership now. They could have just had him there at ringside. They could have done anything to prop this up. All the rumors that Ronda's going back to MMA, maybe this is what it culminated to. Like, I'm going back. This is what I'm doing. I don't know.
To touch on that, I know that there was one big reason other than what you can think of for why not having Dana White at ringside was both Ronda and Shayna vehemently want to hit him in the face. They don't like Dana White. So if you had put him at ringside, it would have made both of the performers mad, and they wouldn't have done it. So I see why they didn't bring him in for that, because you can't piss off the two talent that are going to be in the ring.
Sure.
At the same time, you didn't give them a match that would have showcased them in either way. And my thing again is like, okay, so now Shayna's won this kind of wet fart of a match.
Yeah.
Where do we go with her?
Right, because if it had been in a special match like that, yes. Now it's like, I've done this. Now you can build upon, well, you're only good in the fight, but you can't wrestle like the rest of us. And then Shayna proceeds to beat the crap out of the women's division. But
yeah,
this is nothing. Like,
And
she
this is
has
the
to know what
last.
she does.
This is the last match of Ronda's contract, right? It's
Yep,
over.
she's out.
yeah, it's
She's
over
out.
after
Yep.
this. Yeah.
So now, where do you? We got MMA matches, MMA this, MMA that. The MMA person you have is gone.
Yeah.
Why
Do you
end
build
it this
Shayna
way?
up to, like, basically gets disqualified in her next 3 matches that she uses MMA stuff because she's still in that mode and not wrestling anymore, and then becomes the
That would help
thing?
progress the character, but I don't think they're going to do that. I don't know if you listened to the scrum after, but like Triple H just dubbed her the newest baddest woman on the planet.
Sure.
Like,
Yet
that's
you
her thing
have you had your last baddest woman on the planet just not even defend her title at the pay-per-view, but I digress.
And you again, like we already mentioned, you got 41 women on the roster. Start making choices. Start moving pieces around.
Oh, they
getting-
have made choices, just not the right ones.
Sure, start making the
17
right
minutes.
choices then.
You know, I can't help but think that like this would have been a great, like, I don't know if you guys how much you watch NXT, but I feel like this could have been a great spot for Nikita Lyons.
Yeah.
If she
Like,
wasn't
this
injured,
is-
but absolutely.
That's
Yeah,
why
like
Logan
her,
Paul
like
did
this
his
is a
thing.
good way for her to beat Ronda. Like, okay, but I ultimately feel like this is going to be a wasted like loss for Ronda.
Yeah, it is.
Dude,
It
so
put the
it-
shine on.
Not to go on a tangent, is there any rumor of Ronda coming back, or is this Ronda's goodbye to this world?
On Money Talks, I'm sure she'll be back.
We
Fight.
yeah.
We
well,
never got Becky versus Ronda. We're gonna get that. That's gonna happen.
Oh yeah.
It's gonna be like Pacquiao Mayweather, where it's gonna happen 5 years too late, but it'll happen.
I just saw and I said to everyone again, the Becky going all in on Ronda Rousey, like, yeah, she's crying about how hard it is. You never had to work for anything moment. It's like, yes, that's the heat I want. Put that back out there.
It's not going to be Becky versus Ronda. It's going to be their kids fighting each other in the ring.
honestly, I'd be kind of here
Maybe
for
they'll
it.
have a fight on the farm.
Yes.
And then Travis. is
Shayna
back
and
there.
Ronda could have fought on the farm. That would've been
Honestly, fight in the compound. Be like,
great. Whatever.
But yeah, I mean, to your point also about the fact that the women's division being booked as it is, not to jump too far ahead, but we had 17 minutes of video package and entrance for the Bloodline thing. That could have been half of that could have been used for another women's match.
how?
Absolutely right.
I'm slowly building. I'm gonna just let
Hey Roman,
everything.
can you take an extra step when you walk so it's not 15 minutes walking to the ring? So it's
Oh
only 10
my
minutes? We can
gosh.
give that
No,
5 to
he's the
someone else?
Undertaker. He doesn't have to.
Oh my god.
We'll get into that in a little bit. So, okay, so I'm gonna make you upset with this one. So next up,
Good.
for the,
Make me upset.
for the Intercontinental Championship, Drew McIntyre is challenging Gunther for the title.
I'm so fucking upset you brought up this match, motherfucker. Why'd you bring it? No, I'm sorry.
So, I know that you said that this was your match of the night. I tend to disagree.
Oh yeah.
I will say it was good, but it was not. Maybe my expectations were a little bit higher because now that it was more one-on-one, I wanted more, but I didn't because it didn't live up to what we got at WrestleMania between the triple threat, and so I wanted. I don't know. I wanted it to go longer. I wanted it to be more hard-hitting than it was, and the ending kind of just came out of nowhere a little bit, which I guess is fine. I figured that Gunther was going to retain because, WWE wants their records right now, so obviously, hopefully, if they allow him to, Gunther's holding that title until the SmackDown go-home before Payback in September, and then he will be the longest-reigning IC champion, beating the Honky Tonk Man's record. I was also kind of disappointed with this build because it's hard to, on the Raw Go Home show that Drew's not there to build into this match too, which didn't help. I still enjoyed the match, but I'll talk about what my match of the night was later, but I thought this was fun. It was still, the Chop Fest was still my favorite bit of this whole match, but I wanted more from it, and we kind of didn't get it, but I still enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it a lot more than you did for a couple of reasons. One, whether it was how they were landing or something else, Drew's chops sounded louder than Gunther's, which definitely sold a lot better, which I was like, oh, this is actually like showing like something there. It was a nice little bit of whether it was intended or not, it sold it as Drew being more of a hard ass, which was kind of an interesting thing.
Drew hit one chop while Gunther was going up the turnbuckle, and that echoed through the speakers of that. That was ridiculous.
And this is not the first time he's done that, though. They've had a chop off before.
They have. And seeing Gunther actually have the broken blood vessels that early on his chest, which doesn't usually happen, that was cool for me to see. This is the Attitude Era boy in me, even though I grew up before that and coming up to it. them doing each other's finishers was kind of fun to watch, and like pulling them off with like, it's just back and forth that way and getting out of it. But the thing that got me for it was the psychology around the ending, where Gunther knows he can't just do the splash to win. He can't do like they tried everything. He's got to run through 3 different things to get a pin on him, because Gunther in the last month has been spooked. Chad Gable, a couple of his other opponents, they've started to take him farther to the limit. He's not like brutally beating them. Even the WrestleMania match, he dominated both Sheamus and Drew. They took each other out for the most part, but he was there was nothing there. This was the first time where you see the crack happen, and the cracks are happening. So they're setting up him losing after Honky's record. Yeah. And Drew was going to be the perfect person to take him that far. And now does he start to think about, oh God, I'm starting to lose my touch. Do I need more? I can't have the interference of Imperium, but like, where am I going with this? I had to pull my entire playbook out for the first time in a while to actually beat somebody. And it didn't make Drew look bad, because Drew literally kicked the crap out of him. So that was why it was my match of the night, that the psychology in the ring was better than any of the other matches up to this point. And past that, it still had enough work rate to showcase the athleticism of the people involved.
Yeah. So
that's where I sat, Mikey.
I mean, I love how snug this match was. It was really hard hitting. I loved it. And then, like, I don't know. Somebody tweeted after that Abyss produced this match. Yeah, his hands were all over this match.
Yeah, that makes complete sense.
This was classic TNA Abyss. Like, it was perfect. I enjoyed the entireness of it. I don't know if it was match of the night to me, because I really enjoyed Cody Brock. I know I'm the only one here that did, but I thought
I think you enjoyed it more than the rest of us.
Yeah. But this match was exactly what I needed it to be, and they needed to figure out a way to have Drew lose, because they couldn't do it again. They couldn't have him lose the way he did at Cardiff. He had to actually lose the match. Like, it couldn't be his fault. Like, and now we've set up that it's the story will go on, and hopefully, Drew moves on to a different feud, or however, whenever, but
turns into the Scottish psychopath again, like finally turns heel again to go down the road he needs to, because he's been that kind of babyface in the middle, and if he's not going to win the title to get that run like he needs to showcase he can do it, turn him heel.
Yeah. And I think you can't go back to the Sheamus well again, right? I think you wrote yourself into a corner there for far too long. You had the triples match.
I think Sheamus is really. I think that's. We're about to hit 3 months of him just trashing Roman Reigns. So I feel like that's Roman's next feud. I think, to keep him clean.
Well,
that could be interesting.
We hope, but according to reports, I don't think that's the case.
I was happy to see Drew McIntyre back. There was a part of me that when he was holding out, that I was like, I hope you get what you want. And actually push the brass to do something, and then all of a sudden we saw him. There was a part of me that was let down when I saw him again, because I was like, oh, you're here. I hope they're taking care of you, though. I hope they're not shitting on you. But I'm glad you're back, because I love him to death. I think he's fantastic. This definitely had that European style, we're going to hit you so hard, you're going to feel this in your bones type of match. And
Drew's the first person to make Gunther look small.
Exactly.
Tiny.
And it's how Gunther holds himself next to Drew. Gunther stands up straight next to everybody, but next to Drew, he drops down a little. He lets himself be smaller in front of Drew McIntyre, which could be a choice. It could be something else.
It's a great choice.
It's a great choice. It's like, oh, that tells me something. Holy crap!
I don't want to name drop nobody like negative on this, but if you go back, like this match really reminded me of the Brian Pillman special, the William Regal match.
We can talk.
It was really hard hitting, and I was like, okay, this is what I got. Like they definitely watched this match, took some tips, because the way they were the way they were connecting with some of these shots, it was real nice. And I think they drew inspiration from Will and Kenny too, because they were hitting each other pretty snug too. So I think they realized, all right, this is what wrestling fans want now. We're gonna give you this.
There's also there were shades of Bruiser Brody, Stan Hansen in this as well, like Japan levels of like we're just literally going to be the big gaijin whacking each other with our forearms, and that's all it was for a little bit.
And I agree with both of you, but I wonder how much of this is coming off that Shayna Ronda match where the arena is disinterested and silent, and they go, we got to win them now. we got to do something now to get them back in their seats and paying attention again. Not that they would have done any less, for sure. But I think there was a little more stank on it, if you will, because it was like, hey, we're going to lose them. And if we're losing them now, we're not winning them back. We got to do something now.
Well, that was also personified in Ludwig Kaiser's coat flip, because that is the biggest flip he's ever done when he took it off of Günther in the entrance. It went over his head like a drum majorette, like just full on. Like it was crazy.
Absolutely, it was gore. And Michael Cole was shocked. He's landed on his feet. It's like, he put all of it behind it.
Yep.
I will definitely build Günther the right way. I mean, if this leads to him winning the Rumble, they're doing everything correctly with him.
Amazing. Please do.
Or it's down to like if it's not the Rumble at Survivor Series, it's him and Cody after he's lost the title.
Ooh.
If he wins the Rumble, you build that up as like them going back and forth to have that title shot at Roman, because they need to have a match at some point after the Rumble thing last time. Cody and Günther need to happen.
I think, and that's the benefit of having a good match like this, is now we have somewhere to go.
Yeah.
Now it makes sense as opposed to some of these other matches where it's like, okay, that was great, but where are we going? As opposed to, wow, this genuinely resonated, where we had something to do with it.
So, I will say that the backstage, the digital exclusive, I'm excited to see, because it looks like we're going to get heel Drew back, and that's some of my favorite work of his. So, I'm excited.
Psychopath.
Yes,
I've not seen heel Drew. I'm excited to see
Scottish
heel
psychopath Drew is awesome.
I love it.
He's a bike.
It's gonna be a great time. And I will say that this match kind of, for me and my friend that were watching, it started to increase in our excitement, and that continued into our World Heavyweight Championship match, Finn Balor versus Seth. So I had to rewatch this, and I was torn, but I will say this one was my match of the night. Only because I weigh in when I watched it with my friend versus rewatching it, and just, again, from a storytelling perspective, there were subtle hints and nods that I really, really enjoyed.
This is where I wanted to switch to. I think that Finn and Seth should have gone in between Brock and Cody, and if you build up through Gunther, you can have a little dip with the Ronda thing as you go into the end of the night. Because this was like, it just was in the wrong spot for me, because it was going to be, everyone's anticipating the entire thing at the end of the night, and like even the women's match, you got to build it differently. It just didn't fit.
Yeah.
I agree. I totally agree.
I really enjoyed this match. This was my wrong call. My predictions for, like, when I posted my TikTok, this was the one match I got wrong. I fully thought that Finn was going to win this match. Yeah. And I thought there was going to be no cash-in either. I thought he was just going to win and celebrate with the Judgment Day.
This one was really hard for me to call. This was the only match when I was looking at the card, I was like, I'm 50-50, because Damian Priest is out there floating around somewhere. So could he cash in? I don't think so. But this match was really hard for me to call. But I ended up picking Seth. But I was like, honestly, I would have been fine if Finn got it too. But man, I love Seth Rollins playing mind games out here, like wearing the vest that he wore when him and Finn fought for the Universal Championship, for the inaugural Universal Championship.
Yeah.
And just the juxtaposition between that vest and him looking like he took a bunch of Starburst wrappers and wrapped it around his pants.
and like his grandmother's lace doilies from his thing there too, because the amount of lace that guy was wearing.
I had to wait till they gave it the close in. I was like, is he wearing the same outfit from WrestleMania? Because that's kind of fire.
Old school Carol Channing, Hello Dolly. Like, oh my God.
This is the point of the match, the point of the night where my buddy and I and his wife were sitting down and going, lace doesn't stretch well, and it really doesn't breathe. Like, I'm surprised he's able to move. Like, he's got to be itchy as hell in those pants.
Oh man, he always has the best gear though. He should have just brought back the White Ranger gear. That would have been great.
With the sleeves, the giant sleeves.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Did you guys feel like this story was told to us like the Judgment Day purposely cost Finn Balor the match? That's what it felt like to me when I was watching it. Everything. The Rhea, like, where was Rhea in the actual finish? There's nobody that could have stopped her.
Dom got kicked in the face.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Like, that happened, and then I felt like, because it almost looked like Finn was going to win the match, and that's when Judgment Day comes down. It was like, oh, they don't want him to win. That's what it feels like to me. I guess we'll find out tonight.
I caught that the second time. The first time I watched it, it came off to me as sort of indifferent. Like, we're here for Finn. Cool. Here, let me help you win. Well, why don't you want to win this way? Came off like that.
I watched it differently, John, in that respect, because Priest comes out first. So
Right.
it's going to be he's going to cost them, and then you see Finn do this, and the rest come out. So there's like, oh, the division's there. It's like, get the rest of the boys out. Keep Damian in line. Make sure that all the people he listens to are here.
Sure.
So there was already that worry there with it, and that's why Finn's like, what are you doing? This shouldn't be here. He's not trusting Priest at all. So that was the build for it versus the whole Judgment Day costing him. But at the same time, Finn's also realizing, like, I'm in the same position Edge was months ago. Like, I'm the leader, and they're going to take me out. So he's got that going on. So I feel like...
Well, Triple H said that Rhea's the leader of the group. He said that after the show.
As she should be. But, you know...
I also had an inkling of a conversation Mikey, Minnie, and I had where it was like, well, I wonder if Finn wins and Damian Priest cashes in right then.
Yeah.
And then you if we're going to break it. And then I was wondering if we were hinting at that. Like, oh, that's where we're going. And then Finn remarking in the ring, that's not the plan. We stick to plan A. That's not plan A. It's like, oh, so you planned a thing. So I didn't really, the first time watching it, I was a little disjointed.
It was almost like, if I can't beat Finn, you need to cash in because the title has to come home to Judgment Day. That's what it kind of felt like.
I buy that.
I mean, personally, what I wanted Finn to win the title, and then I wanted, like, tonight for them to have, like, this celebration, and then for them to kick Finn out and him, like, cash in tonight. I thought that would have been great. Great way to kick him out. Right under his 24-hour mark, so that way he has a shorter reign than the last time.
Yes.
That would have been rough.
Yeah.
I had in my predictions, I had typed out, like, Finn wins, they're standing all together in the ring holding things up. Priest holds up there, and he just turns and looks at the title, not Finn. Looks at the title, and that's where they cut it, and they get out of there. And then you go into Monday night, and the same thing, where either a cash-in or it starts that build to finally, like...
Yeah.
You show the photo, and you know people get paranoid. Rhea's trying to hold down court. Dom's being a dick. You know, it would have worked, but now Finn's the only one that hasn't won anything. So they're going to probably go down that route of like, you can't win a damn thing. All the rest of us have won. We're winners.
Yeah,
you're not.
Well, if they build this out, I am hoping they build this out correctly because according to reports, Seth is going to defend that title at Payback in a couple of weeks, and supposedly the rumor is it's going to be a triple threat between Finn, Seth, and Damian in that match.
I love that. Don't use the cash in yet. Just give Damian a title match. I love that.
Yeah,
I think that's such a great idea.
He Mr. Money in the Bank. I hold my own destiny.
Mm-hmm.
That would be spectacular. But I mean, like even if Seth wins, you know what I mean? Like we still have can Damian cash in right now?
See,
you know what I mean?
That's so cool. They're not going to do it. That makes sense.
It's like giving him.
I would want to watch that. So of course,
yeah.
2023.
Yeah.
I do love the idea of him cashing it in just under that 24-hour limit.
Yeah.
That would be mean as hell.
I also like the idea of like if Finn would have won, of him just being super paranoid. And those conversations with JD McDonough, like they come back to haunt the Judgment Day, almost like, oh, every time Finn has to defend the title, then Damian's briefcase goes missing, and it's because JD McDonough's been like hiding it.
See, I buy that more than the botched cash in. I'm tired of the botched cash in.
Yeah.
I don't buy it anymore. It's kind of a wasted trope, but we'll talk about that in a second.
Yeah.
I buy that. Like, who stole my briefcase?
Yeah, exactly. And then you find out like Adam Pearce, because he's the authority figure. He's the guy who has like footage that shows you like, oh, JD and Finn have been doing this for months. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's a great way to do it, but I don't know.
You can even literally turn the knob a little bit higher and say like, Finn has JD. He explains it to Damian as well. You're Mr. Money in the Bank. We want to make sure you have this at all times. It's been stolen before. It's been taken before. JD's watching it for you. He's making sure it's safe. And you call for him and he'll bring it to you. But you don't need to worry about it.
That's brilliant.
Why
don't they do that?
I want my wrestling stars to do more mind games. It's one of my favorite writing tropes in anything is when we play mind games with characters. It's great.
Yeah.
Full on weird just booking hat this came up from the last match. I'm sorry this came up now. I just want to get it out there because it's in my head and it's stuck. You get Gunther to Honky's record. He chooses to vacate the belt. Done. And you have a most dangerous game tournament at Payback or at Survivor Series for the IC belt.
Give me a ladder match. Why not?
See, that makes sense. That's why they're not going to do it. Like,
I love that. Break the record, drop the strap. It's very much like
he doesn't need to be
going to the main roster. Yeah, it's great. Yeah. It's a great way to do it. Like, I don't need this title anymore. I made this title. Now let somebody else have it.
Yep.
I have given this title what it needs. Now it is for you to prove to everyone else you're worthy of this title. I'm moving on. to beat up Drew McIntyre.
Oh, I'm so
I wonder
excited.
if they're gonna play the Finn Balor line. Like, I wonder if he like snaps tonight. Like, kind of points out like, you know, I've been kind of the main reason why everybody is North American champ, women's champ, Money in the Bank winner, and nobody's been there for me to help me get to my goals. You know what I mean? Like,
he made an Instagram post of all the titles
Yep.
associated with Judgment Day not too long ago, and that was a fascinating post to me, just because I was like, damn, the titles go through y'all in a lot of different ways over the last few years.
So what you're saying is we get Judgment Day and Judgment Day Wolfpack.
Oh my god.
I mean, that would be great. I personally think Finn might be the worst heel in the business, so I would absolutely love it if they just like turn on him and make him a babyface. But give us the second NXT run babyface, because that's the perfect Finn Balor. Like, the first run we got, it was fine. It was generic, you know. But that one has some edge to him. I like that.
And then on the rebound of it, Finn's down, feels like he's got no one else in the world, and Bullet Club backs him up.
Oh my. We don't.
Club to actually get on TV, and
that's a whole different conversation.
See, but all these things make sense. They're not.
But not gonna do it.
we need that on a T-shirt, John. Just you saying these all make sense.
These all make sense.
Won't do it.
Ideas. Writing this down for merch ideas later. So that was my match of the night. The last couple of minutes like made me get out of my seat and scream and yell because I was like, oh, okay. I want to give Damian Priest some kudos because he gave me the best meme face that I can for a while when he was looking at Finn after the match. He's like, bruh. And he literally posted it under his own Twitter too. He's like, bruh.
And I also say that Finn's bump onto the briefcase for the stomp was one of the best takes of that stomp
yes,
I've ever seen.
I will. Yes,
it was a great
agreed.
on the briefcase.
I was like, wow, that actually.
No. Louis is like, no.
No, I mean, I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. I guess I'm just going back to the backlash, like almost taking it like off the top rope. I just thought was perfect, and he sold it really well.
Right.
Yes, he did.
I think Finn's selling is fantastic. I love what they did with the briefcase and trying to get us to forget about it.
Yeah.
Right? Like, there was this great nonchalant, I'm going to throw the briefcase over here, and then we cut away like, oh, we're going on to the next thing. Oh, it's happening. Like,
oh my God.
That's when it works, when the cameraman and all that times up well.
You know, since you mentioned a briefcase, it would be nice to see Finn Balor snap out about it tonight. To kind of be like, that briefcase is the reason I keep losing. That's the second time that briefcase has cost me this match. That's great.
And he hucks it into the crowd.
Yeah. Very Brock Lesnar just like tosses it. Yeah, that'd be great.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. I really enjoyed this match. Again, I'm interested to see how we keep going with because Judgment Day is kind of splitting themselves. I guess Judgment Day has like two storylines going on. You have the whole unit storyline on Raw, and then Rhea and Dominic have their own separate story in NXT, which is going to be very interesting when I watch it Tuesday, given the fact that Dominic's defending that title against Dragon Lee with Ray in his corner.
You mean Batman?
Batman. And I mean, he called Axiom a Power Rangers, so I had to laugh at that. But
you know who I am? Batman.
Gosh,
I find it so odd that Dom is the biggest heel in the entire business. Yeah, I said it for the MJF fans out there. And I feel like a lot of the tropes that people have said on the internet or the IWC has been that Rhea doesn't need to defend her title because she's a heel. Well, Dom's defending this thing every week. Yeah. Like every show, and he's the biggest heel in the business. If he could do it, she could do it too.
I will forever keep quoting Becky until it becomes untrue, but that promo kind of speaks volumes. Yeah. Where Becky literally told Rhea, you've become that belt that you're holding, you become the main event side piece, not the main event.
Is that Rhea's call though? It's not Rhea's call.
I don't think it. No. She didn't defend the title, but it was nice to see her wrestle against Lyra a couple weeks ago in NXT, which, by the way, if you haven't, please check out that match. That actually was a good match. But
so I feel like it's more mismanagement of the women's division than it is Rhea.
100%. 100% agree with you.
Accountability corner.
Yeah.
Again.
Yeah, we'll go back to the accountability corner. And I think that if you told Rhea, hey, you have a match in 20 minutes, she'd go, yeah, great, let me get my eyeliner, let's go. Like, she's ready to do the thing.
Hold on. I gotta get the D right for Dom. Hold on.
Yeah, let me get this.
It's so sad too because I honestly like Rhea is one of the most special talents in the business right now. Like, think about the matches she's had. She's been phenomenal in everything she's done, and they just won't let her wrestle. I don't get it. There's no stories to even have her go out there and squash someone on Monday night. I don't. Yeah, I mean, I don't get it.
I mean, the first 2 iterations of that match were doo-doo, but when they actually let Natty and Rhea fight for that title, I was blown away. I enjoyed that match. Like, Natty showed a side to me that I didn't know that I wanted.
I don't know if that's a story being told to us. Like, let's let her and Zelina go out there, tear the house down. Let's let her and Natty go out there, her and Lyra. But then we're going to make everybody crave her wrestle, and then we're just not going to let her. Like, that's what it feels like to me. But there's a big rumor going around that I guess she's about to hit that 30-day mark of no defending the title, so she might need to like be stripped of the title, like defend it tonight, or I wonder if they'll do the Triple H, Shawn Michaels European title thing.
Please don't strip it.
Is that a thing?
Yeah.
I don't even remember that being a thing.
Yeah.
Yes, apparently it is. I don't know. I don't think they'll do it because Triple H doesn't play with that
No,
stuff.
I vaguely remember that. I believe you, but man.
Well,
just squash your local every town you go to. I'm sure there's something. Just
absolutely.
30 seconds, they would adore and you would love it because that's how you started and they would be happy. Then just do that.
Yeah.
Here's JBL books again, and this is going to be terrible because I feel bad for the lower carders in the women's division. You get her to come out on Raw tonight. You say, I haven't defended this in 30 days. I'm being told I have to defend this title, and it's been too long since I have. You know what? I'm just going to get all my defenses out of the way right now. And she does a gauntlet of 5 or 6 different wrestlers, and she just squashes every single one of them and goes, there's my quota, Triple H. I'm done for the month. Bring me competition, maybe I'll defend it. But you see what I did to the division? I don't need to be here. And then she walks off. And you can sell it that way so you can continue not to use her, but she's fought 5 people that should have been, she beat them clean.
But we don't get more than maybe one women's match that lasts more than 10 minutes.
But that's the thing. You could take the 10 minutes, and you can have 5 people beat in 10 seconds. She
they've told us we're going to get Trish and Becky for a good 20 minutes. They're going to give them TV time.
Don't even get me started. I am still salty they were not on this card. Like, I thought I made peace with it, but then I thought about it. I was like, nah, I'm going to be petty.
Give me Becky Rhea at Survivor Series in, like, some big thing. Like, Becky finally says, like, prove it, and has to lose to Rhea, but, like, give me that match.
Please do.
I love it. Have Becky redo the, like, man thing where she, like, loses to Rhea at Survivor Series, wins the Rumble, and then beats Rhea at WrestleMania. I think that would be great.
Yeah.
Right.
I would love it. Well,
but that's why they won't do it.
That's why it makes sense. We won't do it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's very true. So since we're talking about women's wrestling, we go into our semi-main event for the WWE Women's Championship, where we see Asuka defending the title against Mrs. Woo Girl herself, Charlotte Flair, and the EST of WWE, Bianca Belair. So this was in contention for my match of the night, but because the first half was kind of all over the place for me personally, I gave it to Finn and Seth. I will say the ending of this match, what happened after Bianca won the title, spoiler alert, that this match still had the moment of the night for me with Io cashing in and getting that title,
100%.
which was beautiful. I also want to point out this was also the second match where they had to improvise because Charlotte Flair was about to have a Janet Jackson moment on television.
Yeah, yep.
They cut away.
The camera cuts away, yeah.
She runs right up to the ref and goes, hey, this points to her back.
Her zipper had unzipped.
Yeah, and then they save Charlotte.
Asuka sees that. It's like, all right, Bianca, I'm going to kill you for a little bit.
Yeah, that was a good save.
I also love the moment, and I was like, this has to happen. It's going to happen because of the 3 people in the ring, where Charlotte Flair gets in the figure 8 and she gets misted upside down and all
that
was
beautiful.
I'm like,
that was beautiful.
Wild. I thought
she
that
probably
was
had to hold her breath really bad, otherwise it's coming out in your snot for the next 2 hours.
Did you feel like the injury was a little overbooked?
A little bit.
I was just gonna say that.
She sold the wrong leg 3 times.
I know.
She sold both legs.
So I caught that on the second one. Like, wait, did she just switch legs?
Yep.
Because I didn't think it was a work at first. That sound she made coming up and over hitting, I was
that
like,
was her hands.
That was, and they cut away, so I didn't see it. I was like, that did not sound good. She oversold it, so I went, oh my god, is she actually hurt? And they cut away, kind of like you would if someone's actually hurt.
Yeah.
And they tried to play that.
You know,
it wasn't until her walking out that I was like, it's a work.
So
yeah,
and then she came back.
I was on first watch through. I was worried. I'm like, oh, did Bianca actually get hurt? And then as she was walking away, I'm like, wait a minute, where have I seen this spot before? And then I recall last year's Forbidden Door when Dax, during that Fatal 4-Way for the tag championships, like got injured and then had to leave and then came back and won the match. I was like, oh, okay, never mind.
I was pulled even further back than that. She got the Mick Foley spot. No, no backboard, but she was like being helped out. Like basically, they were recreating him being walked out after Hell in a Cell, and then him stumbling his ass back in. But yeah, she missold the because, and I think she missold the leg as well because Charlotte went for the wrong leg on the figure eight.
That's
so she
what
knew that was going to happen there, and she had to like sell the other leg. So.
I just really feel like she doesn't need it. She's already been booked as Super Cena, right? Yeah. Like that's how I feel about her. She's great. Like I'm a massive fan of hers. I don't think she needs something like this because, like, here we are, right, and we're talking about how she doesn't need it, but there's a lot of people on the IWC and live that are booing her, that are just like, you know what, we're tired of this. Like, she's had one of the longest title reigns in WWE history, and it was super generic. Yeah. It wasn't great, you know. Asuka being champ, that was really short-lived. It sucked.
They misused her so bad.
And with her tweet, like, hinting that she may or may not retire in the next couple of years or so, makes me really sad. I'm hoping with the other news that we got reported, if not a one-on-one match with who's returning, but a triple threat of the generations of Joshi wrestlers in WWE. Because if you haven't read the report, supposedly Kairi came to a deal with WWE to return. Give me Asuka versus Kairi, Io versus Kairi, Asuka, Io, and Kairi. Just give me any iteration of that, and I'm here for it.
All together.
Sky Pirates.
Yeah, I love that. I think Kyrie's perfect. I was really hoping that she would like stop Asuka from losing last night, and then then Damage Control is just too much for the Kabuki Warriors. But
I said this in a conversation when I was watching it with my friend. I'm putting my Booker hat on. So the way I would have booked this is and I think we talked about this before too. I would have had Charlotte win, but she pins Bianca, so Asuka doesn't still getting the pin, yeah, and Asuka losing the title, but she still can be like, hey, I never got pinned, I want a rematch, and then you have Io beat Charlotte, so Charlotte gets that legacy to continue the number build, but then Io gets to beat Charlotte, and Bianca's just like, what is happening?
I like that too.
Yeah.
Can I ask an honest question about this?
Yes.
Why was Charlotte there?
I mean,
because she's the GOAT. That's because she's the greatest. Yeah.
I understand the reasoning of like that you'll give and whatever it is for what they're saying there, but honestly, was she superfluous in this match? Like there was no reason to make it a triple threat.
The reason Charlotte was in this match.
She was there to take the loss.
That's what I thought too.
She would never do that. Are you kidding me? She's got to get the figure eight back over so that when you see Andrade,
she's the one that matters. She's been the shortest reigning world champion twice. She lost to Carmella and she lost to Nikki ASH. So
That's
I really
right.
thought that this was the cash in. And I really thought she was going to win. This is how I kind of saw it. I thought she was going to win the title, turn around, get misted, and then Io cashes in. That's what I thought the finish was going to be, but I don't know why they did it this way. Super Cena with the roll up, and then
it's weird. Bianca now holds the longest and shortest title reign in the current record book right now.
The two shortest matches in SummerSlam history.
Also, I would like to point out, someone pointed out to me, and I kind of laughed about it, that let Bianca breathe, because the last 3 years, SummerSlam 2020, she loses in 40-something seconds to returning Becky.
26 seconds.
26 seconds.
Wow.
Last year, Bianca had her celebration cut short with the premiere of Damage Control. And then this year, she wins the title. LOL. Io cashes in. I lose.
But what a great callback to Backlash.
For
that
sure.
Fan base wanted Io to beat Bianca.
Right.
And then that's what happened last night. What a great callback.
And it wasn't a roll-up. It wasn't like shenanigans from Damage Control. She hit the moonsault and pinned her 1, 2, 3.
I love Io's moonsault. I still hold fast that Tiffany has the best moonsault right now between her, Charlotte, and Io, but that's neither here nor there.
The amount of Christopher Daniels film that Tiffany must watch. Because,
yes.
Oh my God.
We get to watch Christopher Daniels beat up talent on Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
Head of HR. creating HR problems on Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
No, but for this also, this is like the booker, but also the actor coach in me as well. Watching when Io thought finally the cameras had cut off her, and like right as they were cutting away, and her going from holding it up in character to actually being excited and jumping up and down and holding it in that kind of Joshi fashion, that like warmed my heart.
We got it more like with the special video when she walked back in through Gorilla. She was literally like a happy little schoolgirl, and I'm like, yes, Io, you deserve this.
Oh yeah.
And Dakota Kai coming out to celebrate with
that
team,
made me cry a little bit too. I was like,
yeah, that was amazing.
Sidebar. When Damage Control breaks up, give me Team Kick again. I need Tegan Nox back on my screen, but that's beside
when she comes back from injury.
Yeah.
But now we have somewhere to go, right? And this is, again, like, they did the storytelling right at the end. I agree with everything we're saying about kind of the match and where we were going and whatnot. But now we have somewhere to go with Io Sky. Now we kind of, hopefully, and they're not going to do this because it's the right thing to do, now you have 41 other wrestlers in your division to work with Io
right
Sky.
there.
I'm very interested. I'm interested to see with Io as champion, like what happens with Bayley and Shotzi. Like, how do those two play into this? It's weird right now.
I did have the storytelling line of I wanted to see Bayley's head shaved that night. I was like, shave her head. Come on, Shotzi, let's go.
She's never gonna do that. Bayley's not gonna do that.
She's gonna do something.
I don't know.
She half her head and
just
she has
got
that
married.
emo haircut. Like, do something.
Yeah, Bayley's pretty game. Of the four horsemen, she'd be like, yeah, all right, let's just try it and see it. I hope we get some sort of stipulation match between her and Shotzi at Payback, because I mean, it's Payback. Like the time.
How severe was her knee injury?
It wasn't a full tear, I know that.
It wasn't a full.
She was able to run to the ring yesterday, so it can't be that bad.
Right.
And I mean, what was it? All the pay-per-views like blend together because I was like, it hasn't been that long because she and Bianca had that ladder match at some point.
What I'm looking forward to is Bayley accepting all these challenges for Io.
You're like, what are we doing?
It's kind of interesting.
Fighting champion Io, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah, because this seems to be their thing. Like, it was like Dakota was like the glue. And now she's not there, so it's like, you know what? She'll defend that title against you, sure.
I wish Bayley, and I think Bayley will get there. She's gotten better, gets a little better on the mic, and starts, if she's going to be the sort of pseudo manager role. Because a few weeks ago when she was behind the table with Michael Cole and Barrett, it did not go super great for her. It's kind of like,
oh man, I don't know what happened to COVID Bayley. Where's she at?
Yeah, I've heard COVID Bayley was amazing.
COVID Bayley is insane, but I think it's because of the fact
she carried the WWE.
Yeah, but she was on her own at that point. Being the leader of the faction now, she's trying to balance all that, and I think they're keeping her away from actually like developing her character above the others.
Yeah.
What I'm waiting to see, honestly, if this news coming through, is that they go a couple of months, and then Kairi appears because she's tagged with Io before and goes, "What are you doing?" Like in Japanese, wherever it needs to be.
Yeah.
What are you doing? You're being wasted here.
Let them cut promos in Japanese. Just say.
Bayley and Kairi have a match for Io's soul, basically.
Yeah. I love that.
The Sky Pirate helping the genius of the sky, by the way. That'd be storytelling at its finest.
But like we were saying, like now we have somewhere to go. We have fodder for ideas on where to go. Whether or not they do them, we know they won't. But it's like, oh, I'm interested.
At least there's a glimpse of where we could possibly go with this. But I can't say that for this main event because I have never yelled so much at my television than I did towards the ending of this match. But for our main event of SummerSlam this year, Jey Uso and Roman Reigns in a tribal combat match, which, by the way, when they dropped the rules for tribal combat, literally in their own rule set, it said nobody is allowed to interfere. And then what happened? It became a 3-on-1.
Yeah.
Because it will.
I thought we were going to get the Black Panther storyline. I thought we were going to get, like, Killmonger versus
that's what I was saying.
And it was going to be like, all right, here we go. And then, you know, obviously Roman plays the T'Challa, or if he's Killmonger because he's the bad guy who wins. Like, that's how it ends. And then after he just, like, narrowly escapes, then we get all the rest of the shenanigans. But not during the match. I just didn't expect that. I thought it was going to be a fair one.
On top of that, too.
Go ahead.
So I'm going to bring my character writing and just writing in general, too. So there has been such a weird shift in Roman's character lately due to this new chapter of the Bloodlines, because when he won that title initially 3 years ago, And for a good chunk of the COVID era and a little bit of pretty much most of 2022, he was the I'm gonna beat you down heel. Like, he just destroyed everyone. And now he's slowly, and I get it, like, I kind of understand, but it makes no sense narratively that this match he was the chicken shit heel, where he's running away and, like, putting distance between him and Jay. I'm like, what happened to the Roman Reigns that pretty much ran through all of the men's roster and then some the last couple of years? And now you're turning him into the
headlocks.
Yeah. And then now he's running away. I'm like,
They turned him into this manipulating, gaslighting heel, which I don't hate, but I think you still need to give me something to push up against, right? Or else you just come off as a sort of whiny, I'm going to chase you around guy, which is, I don't like what they've done with Roman since I've come back watching the last 18 months. I'm sort of like, why should I have respect for Roman Reigns, absolutely. He is pretty great on the mic, and he sells and he performs beautifully. I wish he used all of the moves in his moveset. He does his top 4 every time.
You got to keep your feet on the ground. That's a Hogan thing. You know, you got to keep your feet on the ground. Longevity. Yeah.
Yeah, sure, but
this was a special match. This wasn't him.
Yeah, where was the tribe? Where was the family? Like, if
that's what I mean. It's so weird.
Make it
like
special. Give me
he
some
like
torches.
wrestles Matt Riddle on SmackDown and puts on a better performance than he does wrestling his own like cousin.
Sure.
These guys that grew up together, like they're like, and the worst part about it is like I forgot which one of you said that you're into MMA.
Yeah.
I'll be the professor.
Like. Max Holloway and Dustin Poirier, when they like had their fight, like they pointed to the ground. That meant like we're just gonna bang in the ring here. And I thought
Ronda and Shayna had a throw to that, right? They went 5 minutes, throws the mouthpiece out and goes right here, right now. And they went full Max Holloway. Yeah.
That's what I mean. Jay did that last night. Before the match even started, the bell rang and he goes like this, and then they lock up. And I'm like, that's not what that means. What the hell's that? I thought that was so weird. I expected them to just like punch the shit out of each other because they both like do great punches. Everybody's forearming now, and they still punch.
Yeah. I wanted to
and then of course Jay pulls out the rock punches, which was the funniest thing in the world.
I really thought that was gonna. I thought he was coming out then. That really tricked me.
I thought the nod, the spit in the hand, and the thing. I was like, oh, it's gonna happen.
But the crowd said, "Whoa!" Like they knew it.
They've been hinting at the family for weeks, if not months, right? Rikishi said something. The Rock said something. They have the promo with the Samoans, and everyone's here. Everyone's around.
Where's Manu?
They need to walk out there and be a part of this. And if you're gonna do a ritual, make it a ritual. Light torches. Put it someplace. Why are we using chairs? Like, use clubs and sticks. Like, make it something. The first half of this match was just a generic match.
There was a great pitch on Cultaholic for this, which I wish they had even touched on, which was you see thrones around the ring things are gone, and the family members watch this, and you can get them involved.
Yes!
And the thing that they didn't say on that, which I wish could have happened, would have even taken this farther, you have thrones for the family members that are gone. One for Yokozuna, one for Umaga, one for Rosie. Their pictures are there, and like it's all the stuff, all the elders watching you, which would have been amazing. But this was literally a no DQ match, not even falls count anywhere, which would have been interesting. You know, they went to the crowd for some reason. It's like, what are you doing out there? But the other thing that got me on this, and Mikey, this isn't a joke, but it is a joke, because we talked about this on the text as we're going through. Roman missed the best way to reignite his heat with the fans. Because Jay got the table out so early outside. What's the biggest way to piss these fans off?
Put the table away.
Slide it back under the ring. Piss off the fans. Like,
well, what I don't understand is, so I get it. Like, I grew up a WCW fan and stuff, so I understand how Eric Bischoff's mindset was leave the fans like with questions, which is what's kind of happened. But I was under the impression, and Mikey, I think I said this to you last night. I really thought the idea was to turn Roman face eventually. How does this help that? How do we get there?
I mean, I think eventually maybe I can see that, but like you said, this left me having questions, but these were the wrong questions that I'm asking now.
They keep writing themselves into a corner with this bloodline thing, which
so,
has been driving me nuts since the Sami Zayn arc disappeared.
And then like, Paul Heyman during the scrum didn't bode confidence in me. He's like, oh, this is just the bottom of the third. I'm like, you mean to tell me we got more of this crap going?
Because he and Roman can do whatever they want with it. They have control.
They have the ultimate say when this ends.
Yeah, it's Bruce Pritchard, Michael Hayes, and Vince McMahon that run this character. So those are the guys that run it, and then they go to Vince and he okays it.
So,
but
yeah. So I want to talk about this match just a tiny bit because when, again, Tribal Combat, WWE never plays hard and fast with the rules that they set. Like, I've come to understand that, and I'm like, okay, that didn't really bother me. We'll talk about the story writing of it. So, now, I'm going to get a lot of hate. This is for all the casual watchers out there. Like, no. So, like, because I had a talk with the person who just casually watches this, and they're just like, yeah, that was a pretty decent match. And I can see where they're coming from. But again, I'm going to pull, because I watch all the products. Had I not seen the Weapons Wild match between Roxanne and Blair at the Great American Bash and what they did in terms of ingenuity, I hate to say this, but that was a better no DQ anything goes match than what I saw at this. And this is a SummerSlam pay-per-view.
She had a branding iron. She threw her in a trash can and started hitting her with a branding iron.
Like, I thought we were going to get that levels of extreme. Like, obviously, it's WWE, so they don't want people to bleed. But there are things where, I don't know, you put Jay or Roman in a trash can and then hit the kendo stick. Like, you get a couple of chairs. Like, if Roman's not going to take those spots, then let Jay take those spots or something.
Do you think that's what it is? Is it Roman not wanting to take those spots?
I think Roman is up to take certain spots. Like, I'm not asking for a lot, but holy crap. You have so many weapons that you can use, and other than, like, a couple of weak chair shots and a few tables, then you go run into the ring, and then...
Solo had a stupid moment. Solo walks up to the table filled with stuff. Throws the stuff off the table to use the table. Grab the cord. Grab the thing. There's stuff there to use.
They can't do the cord after the Daniel Bryan thing.
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
There's a whole like weird thing with them and like choking, which is the biggest thing. Like,
you have to choke him. Just hit him with it. Like, do anything.
That Roosh is the only one that seems to be allowed to hit people with the cords.
Yeah.
But this... I didn't see, and I said this on the SmackDown review. If you wanted to, make me believe even more that Jay had it, shot at winning here, I feel like Jay should have snapped on SmackDown because he didn't really beat down Solo too badly. I know that's his brother and everything, but if I were writing and booking this, I was like, Solo after the match decides he wants to get violent, so Jay gets violence back. Like, pull a miniature SummerSlam from last year where Jay just throws anything and everything at Solo, like buries him underneath everything, and that way Solo didn't need to be there for this match, honestly.
Well, but on top of this, the entirety of the first 35 minutes of this match was posturing. There was a punch, and then they walked, and they punched, and they walked. And I know that they're like, that can be useful in certain ways, like you're showing them sizing each other up, but these are family members that have known each other their whole life.
Yeah.
Like, I can see a couple of that at the beginning when you're like, do you really want to do this? But there was no work rate to this at all. And I'm not saying you have to have indie levels of work rate, but there was no gear. Like, you just, we're going to take a breather here and walk. I went to the bathroom during a back and forth between Roman and Jay, and I came back, and they were probably 60 degrees around the ring from each other, still staring at each other.
It was so weird, and I really felt like the ending was done to just purposely like pull this storyline, drag as much as you, because it didn't feel genuine. It didn't feel like when Matt Hardy cost Jeff Hardy the WWE Championship. I didn't feel this last night.
There's no logic to it. There was no logic in the storyline to it.
So what they're trying to do, and I mentioned this on SmackDown, they're trying to draw a line now that they already broke because they had that one promo of you've always where Jimmy and Jay are talking, and he goes all in on him. He says, "You've always been the prom king. You were the captain of the football team. You were always the first one chosen. You were always this one, this. Even though we're twins, we're this and that." And they had that face off, but we buried that when he said, "You're out. I'm out too." That was it.
Yeah.
And now you're trying to re-earth that after it was already taken care of. And
I really like that. Hopefully they follow up with that and they go back to that promo, and then Jimmy kind of says, "Yeah, you pointed out all the things that I am, so I'm pissed off watching you in the main event at SummerSlam." That's fine.
Well, they want to fight each other at WrestleMania. I think that's what they're building to.
Yeah, that's what they said in that interview. Right. Yeah.
But honestly, I think we're getting Jimmy and Jay for the next couple of pay-per-views because, as it's reported, Roman's not scheduled. The next, do we even want to? I guess we'll call it a pay-per-view if we want to. But the next time Roman isn't scheduled to appear on a major pay-per-view isn't until Crown Jewel in November. So I think we're getting Jimmy and Jay at Payback and some form of iteration of them at Fastlane. Man,
I really think they're back to like WrestleMania, like 4 and 5, where like I think like Randy Savage was champ for a year and he defended the title twice. Like I think that's what they're looking to do. Like they want it to be a spectacle. Or when Hogan first got to WCW and he was signed for 4 pay-per-views during the hottest time of his career, and it was like, all right.
That's a brand, right? Okay,
yes.
You're the champion. Now I can give this product a 3-year contract. I can do Peacock for 3 years saying, okay, use this promo for 3 years because of it. So there is the businessy side of it. It just sucks that it bleeds in and kind of dilutes everything that we're watching.
But I don't look at the World Heavyweight Championship as a secondary title, though. So I think this just helps that title get better. And his run so far has been better than 3 years' worth of Roman as champion.
Oh, absolutely.
But here's the problem, going back to the branding issue. Hogan was a brand. Savage, to a point, was a brand, but the title was the brand there. Yeah. Roman's not the brand. The bloodline is the brand.
Is the brand, yeah.
And so if Roman steps away, you still got to run to be able to get your money's worth. You got to run bloodline stuff. And since he's the center of it, you got to have him involved somehow or do something else. And so they're digging at straws now to figure out, what do we do to keep this bloodline running?
Yeah.
Without the attraction, because we've got to protect him for physically, or we just don't want to run it out, whatever it needs to be. And it doesn't work because it's intertwined with 5 other people.
See, the thing I wanted to do and wanted to happen, which kind of would have fixed what you're speaking to, and they didn't because it's the right thing. So they won't, was have this match happen and have all this crazy shit happen, but have the families out there. Whatever family members can get there, like you were talking about, have them in the chairs, have them watching or whatever, and then have this match happen. But something in the match goes awry, and yes, Roman retains the championship, but the tribe chooses Jay to be the tribal chief because he showed
the
some
elders
kind
are
of
split,
or something. Some family arc there could totally have changed that. Where maybe they all voted. Some of them voted for Roman, some of them voted for this. Some of them said, "Well, I don't like the way Roman did that. I felt that he needed Solo's help, so no, I think it should be Jay." Or Solo showed me something. Solo was the hero of this match and would give it to I don't know. But doing that, now you have a bloodline and you have other characters in the bloodline. You're not pulling at the same 4. You're not trying to overwrite for the 4 of them at the same time because now you're stuck. Sami Zayn kind of saved this bloodline thing.
Yeah.
And now they don't know where to go.
And I was literally screaming at my TV. Sami has been right the entire time.
Yes.
Yeah. He's actually kept this thing together, too, because the bloodline without Sami Zayn has been kind of stale, which is why I think they went last resort and had the twin brothers, like, that be the story that that we left SummerSlam with.
Yeah.
But
I would argue the peak of the bloodline thing was Sami Zayn speaking French and yelling at Roman Reigns. That was the top of the roller coaster, and everything since that Montreal show, it's been kind of, we got to piecemeal this together so we don't lose it.
Nah, I agree with you.
I was so, like, the best way I could describe this, and I said this in our group chat too, is just like, I know you want to go for the storytelling bits, but the way that this match went about with everything was not necessarily the greatest. I absolutely hated that Jimmy is now turning on Jay, and I'm just like, I'm like, what? It's
almost too easy, right? It's too easy.
I was just like, character development wise, unless Jimmy has a pretty damn good reason why he did that to Jay, from character development, it makes no sense because his arc went a certain way, and then we just like dropped everything straight back down to the inverse for no apparent reason. And the best way I could describe watching this match was like, I want to see a wrestling match. I'm not here to watch a Martin Scorsese film where it takes like 30 minutes to get into the plot, and then it still doesn't go nowhere, and then everything loses all context and meaning, and everything gets thrown out the window the last 5 minutes.
And I've talked about this from an acting standpoint too. There's a point where it feels like you're acting, because you're in the moment and you're kind of brooding and you're breathing and you're here and you're there, but you're not acting anymore. You're kind of stuck in feeling this thing. You're not on action. You don't have objective. You're just kind of here and the camera's on you and you feel like you're acting, but you're not. You're sitting in it waiting, not responding to anything that's happening to you. And that's where, sadly, they've all been kind of miscoached in these promos and in these things. What was that? We had SmackDown 2 weeks ago where it was quite literally, there was, Minnie did the math on this. It was something like there was 38 minutes, not the Bloodline. It was a 2-hour show, and only 38 minutes of it was not the Bloodline because they're just sitting there brooding. And some folks are eating this up, and they adore it.
That's
some of us. Like, what are we trying to do here?
This could be a whole nother episode where we just talk about listen. The Bloodline storyline has had its peaks and valleys. I've been interested in some of it, but lately I'm just like this direction that we're headed is not it. And obviously it's to be said, but Roman picks up the win. He is still your tribal chief and still undisputed, champion. It is what it is. Now, we have to watch SmackDown to see where this Jimmy J feud goes. Does Solo get involved in it? Honestly, if we get a Jimmy J Solo triple threat at some point, I'm actually kind of here for it. Because the three brothers fighting each other would be great, but from a storytelling perspective,
Rikishi has to come out.
Oh my gosh! Honestly, if Rikishi gets involved in some way, I will take back Eat Crow and say this is the best part of the storyline because
I've been waiting for it.
I don't know.
Been hoping and waiting.
He's been tweeting about it. He's been talking about it on the IWC. So let's see.
We'll see.
I would love to see it.
But that brings SummerSlam to an end. Overall, while it had its peaks and valleys, I was underwhelmed by a majority of it. There were some nice moments, but ultimately, we still have the rest of the year to go, but so far, I will be bold and say this is the worst WWE pay-per-view so far this year for me personally. And and what sucks is they had a stellar summer season, as I called it. Backlash was fucking phenomenal. Night of Champions, while not the greatest, I still enjoyed some of it. Money in the Bank was a lot of fun, but they dropped the ball hard with SummerSlam. And that's supposed to be the big end of pay-per-view for the summer season.
Now, my top for them for the year, looking at it right now, is still Backlash.
Backlash is still at my top.
WrestleMania Night 1.
Yes.
And Great American Bash. Like, those are my three right now that I'm like, those three kind of holding up a lot. I love Money in the Bank. I had a blast at Money in the Bank. But comparing that to what I saw at Great American Bash is, oof.
Yeah. But last thing we'll do, like we normally try to do here, let's give our ratings for SummerSlam. I give this. Well, we're still using the mini scale, so 10.
We're using the mini scale. Okay,
so out of 10 minis, who is not here?
Even though Mini left,
he is here in spirit with the scale. I'm gonna give this like a 6.5 for me. Like, it wasn't completely terrible because I have seen worse pay-per-views before, but I was just underwhelmed, and we got direction for some stories, but I have more questions than answers. So I'm going to give this a 6.5 for me. JBL, what do you give this?
So if this had been like an Elimination Chamber, a Payback, a Money in the Bank, I would have given it 6 out of 10 minis. Because this is SummerSlam, because this is meant to be one of your big four, this got a 4.5 to 5.
Sure.
Because it just could... This is the time to set up your new stuff. This is the time to actually showcase your roster, both brands, and they did none of that.
Yeah.
Professor, what do you give this one?
I'm not too. I feel like I'm sitting on the fence by agreeing with you two. I do think it's somewhere in that 5. Not quite 6, 4, 5 thing, just because you're not showcasing anything. And like I mentioned, it felt like I watched a 4-hour Monday Night Raw. It felt like I could have watched any of these matches any day of the week and been like, all right, that happened. But it's SummerSlam. All you talk about is this 28-year tradition of all these things that we do because it's SummerSlam. Like, well, you just kind of mailed it in to a degree. And it's not the performer's fault. They are professionals. They did a great job in the ring doing what they had to do. A lot of things around them kind of did them a disservice. There are some matches. There are some standout things. I've warmed up to my Cody Brock thoughts after the fact, and after talking here, even like, okay, maybe I was too hard on some of that. I wanted something else out of it. But I'm in that solid 6, like that solid high 5, 6 place for me.
And then, of course, finally, our guest. What do you give your rating for SummerSlam?
I'm gonna give it a flat 5. SummerSlam to me is my favorite WWE/WWF event of the year. The first WWF pay-per-view I ever watched was the '91 SummerSlam. So like, for me, this has always been my favorite. I've looked forward to it. My birthday's right around, it's in August, so I always look forward to this being like a birthday party type of thing. It's really early this year, but I still enjoyed it. And I was so unhappy with the build, the fact that there was more bad matches than good matches. I thought that was so interesting, and the ending. I can't even. I was more excited when Randy Orton cashed in on Bryan Danielson than I was about this. I mean, it was that ending was just. It felt last resort. It's weird. It felt like when Bret Hart and Jeff Jarrett were thrown into the NWO, it was like, oh yeah, let's just throw these 2 more names in there and hopefully just squeeze all the juice out of it.
Good knowledge.
That's
the final throws of that time. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's what this felt like. It was just unnecessary.
Well, like I said, the summer season ended in a fizzle for WWE. So now that chapter is closed, now we can start building towards the fall season, as I called it, because next up in a couple of weeks, we have WWE's next pay-per-view, Payback, at the beginning of September. So we'll continue to follow these storylines and review everything, but that is going to be it for our SummerSlam review. If you enjoyed everything that we did in this review, you can check us out on the YouTube page where we review all the television shows, we give our hot takes. Check us out on the social medias where you can see the shenanigans that go on behind the scenes. But you also listen to us where all podcasts can be found. Apple, Spotify, whatever your choice is, And we also would love to hear from you to give us your hot takes. Tell us how we're right and how we're wrong. Let's have a conversation.
Tell us we're wrong. Tell us we're wrong.
Please tell us.
Yeah.
It's like fight. In the words of one of my favorite peoples, my mother, if you don't like me, fight me.
That's right.
But that is going to be it for the Biconics review of SummerSlam 2023. Thank you so much for tuning in. Yes, JVL, before we head
I
out.
just want to say, Louis, you've been amazing.
Oh, absolutely.
And seriously, we love having you on here, too.
Man,
it's really cool
this
to
is
have
a
that
great
perspective.
conversation.
Didn't skip a beat. You were all in on it, man. Well done.
Definitely fit in with us. But that is going to be it. So, as always, from all of us here at the Biconics to you watching, thank you so much. And as always, adios, sayonara, and thanks for watching.